Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are live, and welcome to the WarWolf Podcast. With us today on the show are Mike. Say hello, Mike.
Fuck you. Anyways.
We are
Very
also
nice.
being joined by William. Say hello, William.
Hello, William.
On the show with us as well is our resident Alabaman Stoner. Say hello, Stoner.
Bunya.
And currently lurking, who may say hi or not, is also Miss Keck. If she wishes to say hi, she can say hi.
Salutations.
And we can't forget a resident leaf. Roll them up and smoke them.
Of course.
All right. So, just some housekeeping to start off with the episode. First and foremost, Dale has been a busy fucking little weasel and has been dodging us and dipping and diving, and it's like he's playing fucking dodgeball all of a sudden. It's like, motherfucker.
Well, I am pretty good at dodgeball,
very
actually.
As big as you are?
Yep.
God damn, hitting you is like hitting the broadside of a barn.
Well, he's limber.
Yes.
Remember, Rule 34. Anyways. But
If it exists, there will be porn of it.
no, I was making a Zombieland reference, you fucking idiot.
No,
But that's
Rule 34, correct.
Yeah, that is Rule 34. If it exists, there will be porn of it.
I
No,
understand, and you
no.
still skipped over the meme.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
I have to correct you, Stoner. It's not if it exists, there will be porn of it. It's if it exists, there is porn of it.
Close enough.
Anyways, getting back to the house.
I actually heard an interesting way of saying
Clearly,
it
I am
once,
the only
where
mature
if there's
fucking
porn,
adult.
it might exist.
Jesus Christ.
Kill it, eat.
Okay. Anyways, Jesus Christ, I work with children. So,
Your point?
we have a glut in the episodes, but we're going to be working on getting that rectified this week so that we can get ahead and just have a constant backlog so we can just keep getting shit out. We do have some special episodes that are going to be coming soon. TM. We need to knuckle down the little bastards that are supposed to be the guests of said episodes. We'll see if that works out in our favor or not, but, it is what it is. Now, furthermore, we've got the situation with potentially, doing more with the podcast, because this is something that I've been thinking about. I don't know if the considerations have been made by other members here, but I would like to get more content out in general, and like, for example, shorts, and potentially doing offshoot episodes of just a couple people or one or two people just doing certain things, so on and so forth. So look out for that in the near future. I'd say probably start doing that around May. Then we've got the situation with the just in general politicking of the world right now. Pure unadulterated fucking chaos. Right now, I would say, guys, I think we can be generous and say we've got about a 70% hit rate here.
Something like that.
So, in general, because one of the people that I've talked to on the side, because somebody that I've thrown a couple of our episodes to, just getting opinions, said person, not very politically active, was kind of like, how is that fucking real on some of the topics that we talked about? And in general, I was like, well, look into it. And then they look into it and they're like, oh my fucking God, what the fuck is that? Like, what is going on there? They're a more astute individual, so they know how to look shit up, and they actually know how to parse information and data together. So they're like, okay. But yeah, I'd say we got about a 70% hit rate. So we're doing pretty good in that regard. We're nowhere near Steve Bannon, for example, Yeah. Which we'll be talking about that in this episode. So yeah, that's just, some minor house cleaning that I think I wanted to do right before we get started. So do we want to talk about Bannon, or do we want to talk about other stuff before Bannon? Do we want to just start on a strong note?
Hell yeah, let's go ahead and start on a strong note. What's that fat fuck been up to?
Well, fat fuck is right, because holy shit, I didn't realize how big he had gotten.
Oh, really?
I swear to God. Let me put it to you this way. Whenever he walks by, you can hear the tuba playing.
Oh, man.
Boom, 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 boom.
Boom, 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 ba-da, boom, ba-da, boom, boom, boom.
Steve Bannon has been outed as a key strategist for Jeffrey Epstein. And I mean the key strategist, not just a key strategist, the key strategist. And it's like, oh shit, like now this brings everything into full focus. And then it raises questions about all the people that are in Bannon's orbit. And unfortunately for the majority of us, we, like, for example, I'll just use myself for an example. I've always treated things that most people have said with a pinch of salt, because it's like, okay, I want to see some verification on that, or hey, maybe, but we'll see. I've always kind of just had that mentality. But now seeing the connection between Bannon and Epstein, and realizing like, oh shit, if Bannon is that compromised, which it's not like Epstein got his claws into him and compromised him. No. This was willful conspiracy. Then it's like, oh, okay, what about the rest of the people in Bannon's orbit? Like, for example, Jack Posobiec. And then you have to think, okay, what about the people that are tertiary to that? Because, like, for example, from Bannon to Posobiec to Tim Pool, for example.
If we end up seeing Tim Pool on that list somewhere, I would not be surprised.
Well, no, Tim Pool, I wouldn't be at all suspect of him being involved with Epstein directly. But the fact that both Bannon, for example, just using it as an example, you have Tim Pool, you have Steve Bannon and Jack Posobiec have been guests on Tim Pool's show. Tim Pool has used Bannon as a source on a few things before. And then Jack has been, previously a reoccurring character on the show over at Timcast. Yeah. So then it creates the conundrum of, oh no, the Russians weren't paying Tim Pool. It turns out that, he's getting money from other sources that he might realize. Because, there's going to be some sort of payoff. Yeah. There's going to be some sort of flow through that occurs that ends up benefiting Tim Pool. And thus, having Jack Posobiec and other Steve Bannonite followers on the show is going to be beneficial. So Steve, that's something.
Yeah, that's the way.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's really been cycling in my mind is, okay, how compromised is the alternative media space to the point where does the alternative media space just need torn the fuck down and rebuilt? Because this includes the likes of Robert Barnes, which then we look at Viva Frei. Viva Frei, do I believe that Viva Frei is directly involved in Bannon's bullshit? No. Do I think he's a loyal friend to Barnes, and Barnes has helped out quite a bit with the whole situation with, getting out of Canada and so on and so forth? Yes.
When you say Robert Burns, are you talking about Burns Law?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, just wanted to confirm in my head. That's what I thought.
So now it's like and I could keep going down the list, but you guys get the idea at this point. So it's like, okay, now all these people and for anybody who is potentially like Warhound's just like, oh, he's just saying this because he calls himself a longest. No, I've been calling Barnes out on his shit for almost a year and a half to 2 years now.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Barnes fucking fell off the fucking, he fell off the wagon hard and fucking busted his head on a rock. That's how insufferable Barnes has been for a while.
Yes.
And then you know, Bannon, I'm gonna be frank, I've never really trusted Bannon to a degree. But now I'm like, okay, so my mistrust of him was not misplaced.
All right. Though I do feel that some caution should be undertaken when then therefore also throwing Jack Posobiec into that exact same bin, just because like he's been everywhere and like he's been around for basically the whole time and he's basically been everywhere. So just because he has had some associations with Bannon, I don't think should necessarily be. Yeah.
No. Here's the problem. Is you there's actually and this is the issue is we all here, you know, for example, this is 10 years ago now for all of us. You know, I was just coming into my early 20s during this time period.
Yeah.
Same thing with you, Dale. Same thing, Stoner was coming in, you know, his mid 20s. You know, Poe, for example, this was her late teens. So we're talking a time period where all of us are starting to format our brains around this shit. And Jack Posobiec, in my opinion, now that we're seeing a lot of the shit to do with Bannon specifically, and then furthermore all the connections that we see with Jack Posobiec, because here's the problem I have. Bannon is the reason why Posobiec got his name. Posobiec was propelled forward by the Bannon wing of things, because what, you know, and we've seen this. He started on Periscope. Anybody remember that shit?
Yes.
Vaguely, but yes, I remember it.
I've heard of Periscope.
He starts on Periscope, and then eventually lands the gig at OAN. And then from there starts pushing forward, eventually ending up in the Timcast circle. So, you know, at a certain point, it's like, okay, again, how deep does the rock go? And that's why I won't give Jack Posobiec a pass in any way, shape, or form. Well, and again, I've been shown.
Like, let me just ask, besides his association with Bannon, has there been anything else at all that has, like, what else has Jack Posobiec done that is...
It's the triangulation between three people. Bannon, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massey. It's triangulation. I
don't think Posobiec has ever been either an MTG or a Massey person. So.
He has been on shows where, like, if I remember correctly, he was on one of the Massey shows on Timcast, and he was glazing the fuck out of Massey. Glazing the fuck out of Massey. And then in regards to just overall conduct, we've seen him do the same thing that we've seen out of that crowd in general for 6, 7, 8 years now. Like, ever since the second half of Trump's first term, it's been Trump has to do this or he will lose. He has to do this or he will lose. There's always that qualification. He has to do this or he's going to lose. And the problem is that what we are now seeing, given the fight that we're currently undertaking and pushing our enemies back in major ways, it's created a problem where now it's like, no, Trump didn't need to do any of the shit you kept saying he had to do. I'm gonna use the phrase, it's the economy, stupid. Because at the end of the day, like, you know, new polling data just came out literally yesterday or the day before, something like that. it's like 29% or something like that of the country gives a fuck about the economy. The next largest number is 20% with immigration.
Yes.
You know, these are what's your biggest concern? That's what that's the poll it is. What's your biggest concern? You know where Jeffrey Epstein
I think it was
landed on that?
It was 1 or 2%, if I remember correctly.
2%. 2%. It was 2%. The number, and mind you, again, Jack Posobiec is part of that crowd. We need the Epstein files. We need this. We need that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, okay, you're carrying water for the enemy. Why are you carrying water for the enemy? Well, unfortunately, due to his associations and the orbits that he is in, now it would appear that again, I'm going to say this right now. I agree with Tom Luongo on this. Trump gave them a peace offering. We just dropped the Epstein bullshit. We just put it to the side and we just fucking forget it. They decided they didn't want to do that. Then he drops the files. And then all their allies over in Europe start dropping like flies.
That has been fun to watch.
Oh, it's been hilarious. But the fact that, I can imagine that the old guard of the Democrats and the Republicans, what we call the neocons and neolibs previously, but officially they're the old guard. The old guard Democrats and Republicans are kicking the shit out of themselves right now because now they're having to figure out how to save themselves. Because here's the problem. You notice the pivot that's occurred within the past few days, right? It's literally been within the past few days since like Thursday, Friday. They've all pivoted to mass immigration was a mistake. We shouldn't have done it. They've hard pivoted to it.
Yes.
And then I'll point out that Senate race that everybody freaked out about, the state Senate race down in Texas, everybody freaked out about it. Susan Kokenda gave some insight into that. The Democrat candidate ran on economics. That's across the board. That was the only platform, economics. The Republican leaned on social issues. That's all he did. Now, Kokenda definitely gave some indications in the way she was talking about it that the Republican shithead is part of the John Cornyn crowd and Bush crowd down in Texas. So more than likely it was we lost. It's so unfortunate. We're going to gracefully accept this defeat and move forward. That wing of the fucking Republican Party, the pieces of shit that we fucking all despise anyways. So at this point in time, it's like, again, it's the economy, stupid. And by the way, right now, the messaging on the economy is not fucking bad. It really isn't. Like, anybody who can do cursory fucking searches, hell, use Grok if you fucking have to. Economic numbers are looking pretty fucking solid across the board.
Yes, they are. Which is...
Hell, they just sorry, Dale, I just want to point this out just for the sake of the viewers. They just put out the revised job numbers from the last report. 166,000 jobs, primarily in manufacturing.
Mm-hmm. Which
and all while cutting a shit ton of federal government jobs all the same.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, federal spending, quote unquote, is up because you're having to push money in order to do shit. But otherwise, the actual liabilities, which government employee wages are a liability of the government, those are down. They're down massively.
Yes.
So, go ahead, Deb.
Well, I wanted to say, since you mentioned that we moved to the economy real quick, that poll where the economy was number one, I think it was at 27% or something. The previous poll, it had dropped. It was in the either 40s or 50s. So the economy, the importance of the economy, has actually dropped by a good 30 points or so since the last poll, which.
Well,
And
that's because
if you know anything about polling, when an issue stops being a problem, it falls in the polls. Right? Like,
well, yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And you know how immigration came up by a few points as well.
Yes. Well, if you look, for example, at the polls like pre-2020, like the 2024 polls and like the early 2025 polls, immigration was by far the highest, like dwarfing almost everything else. It was either the immigration or the economy. That's also fallen precipitously. Like now it's way down.
Absolutely. Those two, during Biden's term, those two were bouncing between 1 and 2 almost continuously.
Yeah.
And note how after the situation in Minneapolis, and this is the reason why I bring up that the immigration thing came up a little bit, because fraud came onto the scene.
Yes.
Because immigration and fraud combined, after Minneapolis, fucking all that dirty laundry got aired out, all of a sudden people are like, no, we need to fucking handle that shit.
Yep.
I'm going to point out, the regular people of this nation are not retarded. They understand what the problems are. They might not understand the nuances of it, but they understand the problem. And it's our job as people who understand the nuances, who understand the connective tissue, and can understand how to push forward on that issue. It's our job to get the fucking work done or tell them how it's being fixed.
Yes. It also, since we're talking about the various good news, I think it also is worth noting that so far over the past like 6 months or so, and it wasn't just confined to that one in Texas, but special elections have not been going well so far over the past 6 months. In pretty much every state they've been had in. So one should not, one should pay attention to, both the positive signals and also the negative signals as well. Because some of those are there. Like, for example, it wasn't just in Texas. There was that thing in Virginia as well.
Well, okay, so real quick, I'm gonna point out some things in regards to Virginia.
Yeah.
First off, you're talking about the state that, one, did not pass a lot of the voter reforms that other states did.
Yes.
So already you have a compromised election. Mm-hmm. So across the board, if you do a full audit and full forensic investigation on that election, you're going to find a lot of hinky shit. That's my position, period, in the story. But then you're also going to start looking at the candidates. A lot of the candidates that were being ran in Virginia, the Virginia GOP lost that election on purpose. Because a lot of those candidates were very, very subpar. They were running on bullshit antics. There were a lot of them that were getting caught up in, micro scandal after micro scandal. It was basically a death of 1,000 cuts when it came to the different little scandals that they were all getting tied up in. So on and so forth. The problem is that the GOP threw money out there to waste money on these people so that the Democrats could seize the state back. And notice, why would they do that? Why would they be so desperate to seize Virginia? Anybody know?
It's how close it is to DC.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That's part of it, but it's not like the absolute most critical thing. It's important, but not the critical point.
Wouldn't it be important on a symbolic level
That's a minor point.
Um,
It's the Chesapeake Bay.
Yeah, that's true.
Isn't that where the CIA is?
Yeah, the CIA's in
the
Langley.
No. The Chesapeake Bay is one of the most important bodies of water in the entire nation. It's as important as the Mississippi. It's as important as the fucking Great Lakes.
You said a few weeks ago that one of the things that the progressives is trying to do is take over as many of the major ports as they can to starve out the quote-unquote flyover states.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that's what Virginia was, because what is in Virginia? A major shipbuilding facility?
Is it Norfolk? Isn't the Norfolk Naval Base also in Virginia?
Yep. You got a major shipbuilding facility, you have major ports, and you have one of the biggest naval yards that we have in the entire fucking country.
If you was to take out the Norfolk Naval Base, the entire Atlantic Fleet would be crippled for months.
Oh yeah, because the only other option you have at that point in time is Charleston and Wilmington, and they're not big enough to maintain the fleet as it is.
Yep.
So how do you disrupt things? You fucking surround. You don't even have to fire a shot. You just surround it with mass protests, and you just keep those mass protests going as long as possible.
You know, as much as I hate to reference the fat Fobbit, but he does have a point in how social media can be used as a weapon and get protesters in a situation to where they can be used to disrupt military operations.
Well, yes, but a lot of the principles and tactics that they're using are military operations. They're just recognized as other revolutions. So, I mean, yeah, that's kind of what they are. They're revolutionary tactics. And not the good form of revolutionary, as we would know it over here.
Well, and that's the thing. At the end of the day, personally speaking, that's the thing. At the end of the day, is that's how I view Virginia. Virginia was lost on purpose by the Republicans, with the express purpose of handing it back to the Democrats, so that they could start establishing the perimeter that they need in order to not only go after Washington, D.C. unfettered, but also to go after all the naval assets in Virginia. I almost said on Virginia, in Virginia. So across the board,
considering what that new governor is doing, it kind of would be on Virginia. Good Lord.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, is that now you have the situation where the border counties in Western Virginia have renewed their move to secede from Virginia to join West Virginia. That whole momentum is back. So again, don't think that it was just a cop-out. Don't think that it was just a, we got unlucky. No, there was some hinky fucking shit in Virginia. And they're going to try desperately. This is what is important about the situation down in Fulton County, Georgia. It's a massive point. Because at some point in time, the information is going to come out. And, well, it's going to be very disastrous for certain people. I gotta step away for a second.
No worries.
Uh-huh.
I just wonder how fucked the rhinos are going to be when it's all said and done.
It's a question, isn't it?
Yes. Well, some of that question will be answered when the primaries end. If, let's say, people like John Cornyn and Tony Gonzalez lose their primaries, that may spell disaster for the neocons and the rhinos.
Well, I can.
Oh God, Gonzalez.
Well, I don't know about the other guy, but from what I've been hearing, Gonzalez's ship is sunk. So there's a pretty damn good chance that Brandon Herrera may win against him.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, the last polls that come out were indicative of Herrera at like 44% of the vote in terms of the primary.
That's good.
Yeah. And the thing is that there's two other candidates in the race on top of that. And, you know, they're taking up about 2% each. So, you know, Brandon doesn't have a large margin to overcome when it comes to Tony at this point in time. It's literally, it's lining up to be exactly the same as it was during the first round. So.
Yeah, but also doesn't Tony have a few skeletons in his closet that have been exposed now that could hurt him?
Oh, no, it already has hurt him. His funding has been cut precipitously. He's not getting the money from the Texas GOP that he was originally getting. Like Brandon Herrera has out fundraised Tony Gonzalez like crazy. The problem I have with Brandon Herrera is making sure that Brandon doesn't go to Washington, D.C. and get Thomas Massey's claws in his back.
Yeah.
Oh, you think he's going to be on? Well, let me ask you something. Do you really think he's going to go in on Thomas Massey's side? Or do you think he actually has a brain and can put one and one together and figure out that Thomas Massey isn't who everybody thinks he is?
I think it's a case of naivete. Look at what happened with Trump in the first administration. There was severe political naivete.
Yeah, that's true, but I also think that could be wrong, but Trump also seems to be like the kind of individual that's just too cautious on pissing people off.
Does that sound like Trump? Not cautious about pissing people off?
No, his first term.
I'm sorry, what?
First term.
I don't know. I
Well,
mean,
again,
we've seen his tweets. He's never been shy about pissing people off. Or,
well, my point is,
he's never.
I just hope that political naivete doesn't end up resulting in Brandon Herrera getting sucked into the circle where it's like he thinks he's fighting the good fight, but in reality, he's carrying water for the enemy. Because I don't want to hate him. But unfortunately, you have to hate the pawn just as much as you hate the king. Well, actually, Thomas Massey is more like a bishop, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bishop is a good way to say it because he's got the religious iconography all over him.
Yeah, seriously. But the point is that at the end of the day, like, you have to blame the pawn just as much as you blame the other pieces. So if Brandon Herrera gets sucked into that circle and then ends up getting fucking trounced eventually, because once, and this is the key thing, is once Thomas Massey's dirty laundry is fully fucking outed, and again, I believe that Thomas Massey has a very, very distinct chance of losing his fucking primary this year. Once all of his dirty laundry starts getting fucking outed, it's like, well, there you go. So hopefully Thomas Massey won't even be there to influence Brandon Herrera. Again, it's a concern.
All right, and then moving on to the other
And
notable.
let's not.
Go for it.
Hold on, Dale. And let's not forget also that Bernard Herrera is also still on the Unsubscribe podcast, and if he starts fucking up, then I know of a decent handful of people who will rake him over the coals and cut their ties with him.
I would think so, yes.
Again, I just don't want a situation where he ends up, again, it wouldn't be through fault of his own. It would be through the actions of others pulling him in. And I don't want that for him. Anyways, Dale, you were going to bring something up.
Okay, I just wanted to say, well, moving on then to the other notable primary that's happening in Texas is the Senate primary between what's his name, John Cornyn and Ken Paxton, which also is looking favorable for or not looking favorable for Mr. Cornyn.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That situation, and I'm going to point this out. I have not heard about a definitive challenger to Rand Paul. But Ken Paxton, with how good of a job he's done overall, it's like, that's not a hard sell to people. Ken Paxton has very good numbers overall in Texas.
Yes.
And, if we could knock out Cornyn, and we could knock out Paul, we could start just knocking these motherfuckers one after another, there's a distinct possibility that as soon as that happens, it's like, oh, we actually have a Senate.
Well, having a Senate would be nice. We haven't had that in a long time.
Maybe, just maybe, we can get rid of the 17th Amendment. Because, mind you, Ken Paxton, if I remember correctly, is one of the people in favor of getting rid of the 17th.
Yes.
Sounds about right.
And the closer we get to that, the better everything is.
Yes. Though, personally, I would say if one was to try to focus on which senators need to go the soonest, it would probably be the three that have still yet to sign on to the SAVE Act, including, but not limited to, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska.
Well,
Murkowski
Murkowski is a piece of crap, and all you have to do is look at how she got herself elected. She changed all the voting rules in Alaska to do it.
Wasn't it like her dad or something that was in office before her? Or it was some family member?
Her family has been in politics for a long time. I don't remember where or in what positions, but the name has been around for a long time, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And the unfortunate part is you are correct in that regard that Murkowski needs to fucking go. The problem is much like Arizona, the Murkowskis have a shit ton of pull in Alaska the way the McCains have in Arizona. Mm-hmm. And the same way with the Bushes in Texas. So,
yep.
So it is a very, very problematic situation for us because it's literally like, oh, can we get them over the finish line when both sides are taking shots at them?
Yeah. This is the lady that forced through ranked choice voting in Alaska, of all places, just so she could get herself reelected.
Which then also made cost the Republicans the House for the sole House seat in Alaska for the first time in decades because of that ranked choice voting in 2022.
Oh yeah.
So thank you very much.
That's how she paid to be able to get it to go through.
Yep.
Everybody flat out said, "You do this, that's going to happen." and she needed the votes in the state to get it. And the party that got that particular individual elected, I don't remember the name anymore. Yeah, they pulled water for her to get it to go through the state legislature. So she sold the House seat to be able to get reelected.
Yeah, effectively. Like, and again, these are the kind of people that were running. Like everybody's like, oh, Democrats. No, we're running against Republicans. We're running against people that, are standing behind us, that you think have your back, and then all of a sudden they just fucking blow your brains out.
Yeah.
And they've done it time and time again. Again, Virginia, I believe, was a complete sellout job. My personal take. Not one that's very, very rare at this point in time.
Mm-hmm. Here's a question. What are all of your thoughts on Susan Collins out of Maine?
Susie Collins. Honestly speaking, I think that she's like a wind meter. She just blows in whatever direction is most advantageous for her.
She's a meat suit. She's a meat suit that's got a wind tail on her, and she just goes wherever the wind tells her.
Yeah. It's not. She's not capable of standing on her own. Mind you, Maine is it's such a. It is a state that technically, like let's face it, much of New England shouldn't exist as a collection of states, but as more of a block itself.
Yeah.
It honestly speaking, like, I agree with people when they're like, oh, hey, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, fucking Rhode Island and Connecticut, and, fuck it, you can throw Maine in there too. Like, it should all just be one state. Mm-hmm. It really should be.
Yeah, when you have to when you're on Google Maps and you zoom in and you still have all of the states on a separate screen, there's an issue.
Yeah.
All you have to do is look at Rhode Island and there's an issue. Like,
yeah.
What the fuck is that?
But that's the problem, is that you have all of these states that, in terms of political power, and there's some political history that you have to go into. You got to go all the way back to when the Puritans were still a massive controlling portion of the country. This is prior to 1776. This is prior to the establishment of the United States as an actual entity. You have a situation where you have a group of people. One, they're very resentful towards Quakers. This is why they've done everything in their power to crush Pennsylvania the way they have. Because they're like, no, Pennsylvania does not deserve to be, this powerhouse. Because let's be completely frank here, and let's actually think this through. Pennsylvania used to be one of the most industrially strong states in the United States. You had Philadelphia and all the coastline that literally was shipbuilding ground zero for the majority of the United States. Philadelphia had fucking buku industrial capability. Then you have places like Scranton that come in later, and Erie, and so on and so forth. Like, all these places, incredibly industrially powerful. But then as time has worn on, that place has been crushed and crushed and crushed and crushed. And most of the people who are doing the attacking on Pennsylvania, for example, they come out of state. A lot of them. New York was the first one as well, because remember, New York used to actually be quite a pretty middle ground fucking state, and then they infiltrated and broke it down and just forced this bullshit onto them. Again, a lot of the laws that are put into place, like the Puritans, they completely swore off they basically swore off the ability of normal people. And remember, if you go back, the Puritans were some of the main outspoken critics of the Bill of Rights itself, because they were like, no, we can't do that. No, we can't do that. No, we can't do that. And it required everybody else looking at them and being like, shut the fuck up. And again, this is why the Quakers replaced them politically. But what did the Puritans have that the Quakers didn't during that time period? They had the centers of higher education. All the specialists that we were cranking out came from the New England region. So it was definitely a case of, well, there you go. And they're just continuing the same mantra that they did back then. You know, hey, we don't like the fact that all these other states are more powerful than us. We have to break them down and beat them down and browbeat them into feeling bad about being better than us. You know, there's a reason why they hate Ohio the way they do, is because Ohio, you know, one of the things that most people forget about Ohio, you know, everybody's like, oh, it's just cornfields. It's like, yeah, and also one of the highest contributors to the war fighting capability of this nation. That's basically the entire Midwest. It's literally farms, massive industrial centers, and then war fighting capability.
Yeah, neat.
And guess what? We're really good at it. We're really fucking good at it, actually. There's a reason why, you know, like the Iron Brigade. You know, if anybody knows what the Iron Brigade was, it was a fucking Wisconsin unit. Horrendous casualty numbers. But those motherfuckers never broke. They never retreated. They never ran. They would stand there and fucking eat volley after volley and dish it out just in time. The Iron Brigade would routinely take 50% casualties, and they would hold the field. There's a reason why they had the name the Iron Brigade.
Was that in World War I or World War II?
That was Civil War, dude.
Oh, wait, yeah, that was Civil War, wasn't it?
That was Civil War. And again, you look at New York units. There's a reason why New York was throwing Irishmen fresh off the boat into the recruiting centers, into the mustering fields, because they were sitting there freaking the fuck out, because the Midwest, even though it had a third of the population overall across the Midwest, we were kicking ass and taking names. And there's prestige on the line. We can't allow these other, you know, rubes out in the fucking backwoods, out in the sticks. We can't let them show us up. This is how these people think. It's how we should think. This is war. And the problem is that people don't think of these abstract things like prestige and glory and so on and so forth, because most people don't have any use for it. But the problem is, when you get Puritans like these fuckheads are, it's all they fucking care about is the influence, the power, the prestige, you know, the fame, the glory, et cetera, et cetera. That's all they fucking care about. That's why they're so heavily invested in the derivatives market. They don't give a shit that it's not real. They want to make money, and they create the derivatives market to be able to make money without actually having to do anything.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Remember, where did the Puritans come from? They came from England. They were the religious fanatics that even the English couldn't fucking stand.
Yeah.
These are the same people that launched the Salem witch trials. The same fucking group of people.
What exactly were the Salem witch trials all about, anyways?
Do you
It was a bunch
do you
of
want
neighbors pissed off at each other.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was a good chunk of it, but in reality, you actually boil it down to its core components. It was a matter of the Third and First Amendment. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's a decent way of looking at it, isn't it?
Which was the Third Amendment again?
No quartering of troops, but also the essence of private property rights. That's the problem. Is a lot of people they don't think of the Third Amendment as being important, but it's like that's literally what gives you your private property rights.
Yeah.
That's what gives you control over your land and over your home.
That is true.
Without the Third Amendment, there is no established. No, you can't do whatever the fuck you want with my place.
Yeah, that is true. We always hear a lot about the first, second, fourth, and fifth, but almost never hear anything about the third.
Well, it's because it's an abstract for most people because they're like, oh, quartering of troops. Why does that matter? Well, I can tell you why it matters. But here's the thing: is that the Salem witch trials, freedom of association. That was one of the key things because a lot of the women, for example, that were killed in the Salem witch trials, because there were plenty of men too, but most of the women, it was a matter of association. Who were you associated to? Who were you related to? Et cetera, et cetera. Oh, you're related to this guy over here that wronged me? I'm gonna accuse you of witchcraft. I'll show him, because the women were easy targets. Mm-hmm. But then you have to understand, it wasn't the men, generally speaking, accusing the women. It was other women accusing the other women.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, 90+.
I see.
And mind you, that brings up an uncomfortable fact for a lot of people. We live in a matriarchal world. Period in the story. That's just how it is. The women have the reins, because if we had the reins, you think this shit would have gone on this long?
Nope.
Do you think for even a second that most of the bullshit throughout human history would have gone on the way it did?
Nope.
Hell no.
Oh, but we live in a patriarchy. By the way, I want you to understand something. The concept of the patriarchy was created to obfuscate the role of women in power politics.
That's right.
And if Lucy heard me say that, she'd lose her shit.
Oh, she'd lose her mind.
Yep.
She would lose her mind, and she would not understand it.
No, but the point is it's an abstraction. It's something that you have to be able to sit and roll over in your head for an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours and sit there and play it out in such ways that you're absolutely going to be sitting there like, fuck. It's one of those things that when it finally comes to you, you are just going to be blown the fuck away by it. And most people don't have that capability, unfortunately, because that kind of thing is incredibly high level. And most people
It's
just
been
don't have.
intentionally taught out of us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't disagree with that at all. And so, getting back to, the core point is that
I'm sorry, but whenever I hear the word feminist, the prime example that I can come up with is Valerie Solanas. And do you know who she was?
No idea.
She was the woman who attempted to murder Andy Warhol in 1968.
Yeah, I'm not aware of that, but I'll have to look into it.
Let's just say she is pretty much or was the embodiment of feminism.
How fat
Well,
is
I'm not
she?
surprised. Remember, this is 60. This is 68.
Fair enough.
Women weren't fat back then.
Yeah.
And a bunch of fat fucking retards just got really mad at me.
Yes.
But no,
Also, I forgot to mention this. She also wrote a book called The Scum Manifesto, in which she argues that men ruin the world and that it's up to women to fix it, and to achieve that goal, they should genocide men.
well, yeah, okay. Congratulations. Try that, and you're not gonna like the results.
Yeah.
You see, I'm going to point something out, and it's going to be funny to Will. The Majesty of Canopus is a meme for a reason.
That's right. You're right. That is funny.
And anybody who understands what I'm saying, you get it. And if you don't know, you don't get it.
Yeah, great medical skills, and everything else is a joke.
Oh, and what's their main form of income as a polity?
Well, the polite form is entertainment. The more accurate term is state-controlled prostitution.
State-controlled prostitution along with massive gambling.
Yep. You beat me to the second one. I was about to say it, but yeah. It's an uncontrolled Vegas as a state.
Yes. It is literally Las Vegas if Las Vegas had control of, like, what, 50 worlds?
Less than that, but close enough.
Yeah, you get what I mean.
Mm-hmm. And absolutely no military that's worth speaking of.
Oh yeah, you wonder why they completely fell apart during the reunification war.
Yeah.
But I digress. Taurian Concordat for the win. Anyways.
Oh yeah, gotta love the Bulls. The Bulls do not get enough
I'm just
credit.
gonna point out that those two happen to share a border, and one of them resisted the invaders a lot longer than the other. Just saying. Oh, and remember, a lot of people who the first Taurian protector was a woman.
That's right. Samantha Calderon.
And
why do I remember these things?
Oh yeah, I love Calderons. So to all the feminists, a woman found both of them. Only one of them is worth their fucking weight in salt. Get fucked, nerds. Or as Tex would like to put it, get bent, weirdo. Pay your phone bill.
Pay your phone bill, yeah.
I did make a joke earlier about how should we form a telecom company, and have a wet work side to the telecom company. That'd be fun. Anyways,
I think that's why they broke up Ma Bell.
I like that. So yeah, it's a simple fact that across the board, these people are going to do what they need to do, or what they feel they need to do, in order to retain their power. Again, they lost their power to the Quakers. We're talking about the people that would eventually become the Amish, who, mind you, they weren't pacifists. Quakers were not pacifists back in the day. And the Amish, the only reason why they became pacifists is because of the U.S. Civil War. little history lesson for anybody who doesn't know.
Why did the Civil War make them into pacifists?
Because they didn't want their families being dragged into the war.
Ah, fair enough.
But that's the point. Is at the end of the fucking day, like, they lost their political power to a group that, frankly speaking, across the board, trounced them in any way, shape, or form. And then they finally got that power back. Do you think they're going to willingly give it up again?
Nope.
So it is going to be a case of, it's going to be a fight. Like, it already is a fight, to be completely frank. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it at this point in time. It's just a matter of if people are willing to understand that it is a fight, and you're going to have to fucking, give up the ghost on your idea that you're not going to have to potentially put yourself on the line for a greater cause than just being like, but my kids. See, here's the issue that and this is the problem I had with Tim Pool. You guys remember that massive rant that Tim Pool went on back in the day?
Which one?
Where he was like,
I was on one of those every month, so you're gonna need to be more specific.
Yeah, I know. I was getting to it. If you'd given me a fucking second. When he went on that massive rant about how people need to stop using their kids as the reason for their inaction. Well, the problem is that what he missed was he was completely off. Like, he didn't even hit the right grid square in what the conversation really was. The conversation is, I have my kids to worry about because I don't want my kids to be orphans. That's the actual conversation. That's the actual point of the hesitation of most of these people, is that on an innate level, there's a lot of them that understand, hey, wait, like, this is getting hostile. This is getting to a point. If it goes any further and it comes to blood, there's a chance I die and my kids are left fatherless or motherless. The problem is that people need to start realizing, like, hey, at a certain point in time, you're just going to have to fucking sack it up and take the risk.
Unfortunately.
Doesn't feel good. Hell, I can tell you this right now. Every single day I fucking work. I work in a job where it's literally a case of, if somebody comes in and starts doing hanky-ass shit, there's a chance shit can go bad for me. Still come to work. I still do what I need to do. Because at the end of the day, I look at the people inside this building, for example, and I'm like, nah, I refuse to allow anything bad to happen to them. I refuse. So why wouldn't I apply that to the people of my nation? And mind you, it's primarily people within our nation who are doing it to us. So then you have to reconcile the fact that you're going to have to face off against neighbors. You're going to have to face off against, fellow Americans. I'll bring up the immigration stuff a little bit. There are people that are screaming and hollering, DHS is doing this massive expansion. They're buying all these warehouses and so on and so forth. And people are screaming like, oh, these are not meant for illegals. They're meant for Americans. I had a reply to one of them because it's about 16% of the population that we have to be concerned with. The rest of the population is either on our side or they're too tepid to even try. It's about 16% of the population. And only about 5% of those guys, out of that 16%, are the actual hardcore believers. The other 11%, give or take, they're just kind of the flunkies. They're just the fodder for the grinder. Like, seriously. It's 56 million. 56 million.
Could you
That's how many.
say that?
That's how many. Hold on, Center. 56 million. I'm sorry, but the near 100,000 capacity that these warehouses that they're refitting into detention centers, it ain't nearly enough for you motherfuckers. So sit down, pipe down. You're okay. You're not going to the camps today. Give it 5 years, maybe. We'll see. Hopefully. But hey, that's just my own personal feelings.
Yeah. Hey, well, it's as the saying goes, right? Auschwitz wasn't built in a day.
I'm sorry, I was slightly distracted. Which group of individuals were you talking about?
Oh, the actual leftists that will commit violence. It's about 16% of the population.
And I wonder where most of that. And I wonder where the majority of those fools are located.
Well, to be completely frank, there's a smattering of them across the board. It's called, there's a reason why we refer to their locations as islands. Mm-hmm. It's a bunch of little blue islands in the middle of a sea of red.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my brother had a conversation yesterday in which I had to point out to him is like, you do realize that the situation here in Ohio changed when the voter rolls got cleaned out. He was like, what do you mean? I'm like, Tyler, it went from being a 55, 45 to a 65 situation for us. Like, this state is safe red across the board. Like, the Dems have not put major money into Ohio for any reason since the voter rolls got cleaned up.
When did that happen?
They just haven't. That was 22. Oh. So going into 23, which we had some elections in 23, and then of course you have 24. Mm-hmm. But like, they haven't put major money into the state since, because they know they can't fucking do anything here. There's not a bunch of bullshit names that they can pull from the list that they can throw in there to do whatever the fuck they want. And you notice every state that cleaned up their voter rolls, the same effect has been seen. The blue areas got bluer, the red areas got redder. And some of the blue areas flipped red. Hell, fucking Portage County. I'll use them for an example because they're right in my area. Portage County, a county that really shouldn't go in our favor as much as it does, and it consistently goes in our favor. Consistently. It's got the largest, per capita in the state, it's got the largest number of unregistered voters in the entire state.
Interesting.
It shouldn't go the way it does. But it does. And it's because the people over there are like, nah, we good. We don't want stupid bullshit. Hell, you go over to Portage County, I worked for Portage County for a little bit. I'll give you guys a little bit here. I had this, it was a chalice that was shaped like a stormtrooper. It was part of a Christmas bundle gift that my mom got me like 6, 7, 8 years ago. But I basically removed much of the Star Wars stuff from my overall decor. I've still got a couple things, but it was kind of something that was like, I don't really want this anymore. It's just not something I wanted. I used it as a pen cup on my desk. Well, I don't really want this anymore. And then working with Portage County, one of the guys that worked in one of the buildings, his office was decked out in Star Wars stuff. So I decided, hey, I'm going to give him this. So I went and talked to him because I knew about some of the corruption stuff. And I'm like, hey, I've got something that matches your decor really, really well. Would you mind taking it off of me because I'm not using it anymore? I would love to give it to you just because, I'm just going to throw it away, basically. And he's like, so you can't give it to me, but if you just leave it on my desk and I walk in and it's there, it's not a big deal. Because that's how rife the corruption was in Portage County at one point in time, that just the act of giving a gift that was literally, I'm going to throw it away otherwise, that was a big no-no.
Yep.
That's insane.
Oh, we need that in pretty much 80% of Michigan.
But that's how bad it was. Again, that's just how bad it was in Portage County. But that's the thing. You're looking, the more that we clamp down on this shit, the more it's like, oh fuck, like things just keep going our way, regardless of what the numbers from the pollsters have to say. Mark Mitchell, Richard Barris, all these little shitheads. It keeps going our way. Why is that? Well, I can tell you why. Because, you defang the corruption from both sides. It's not just the it's just not the Democrats that are being fucking defanged when the corruption's taken care of. It's also the Republicans.
Right.
So,
I don't want the corruption on one side gone. I want all of it gone.
Well, that's the thing, is at the end of the day, when you eliminate corruption, you eliminate it across the board. That's just how it works. So, I'm of the position that we're in a much more fantastic spot than all the chuckling collapsitarians would want us to believe. They of course want us to believe that everything's falling apart, that Trump is failing, that Virginia was a bellwether, for the midterms, yada, yada, yada. And it's like, Virginia was only a bellwether for the midterms if the Republicans stab us in the back, which, we're angling for that. That's why we're primarying a bunch of these motherfuckers.
Uh-huh. And let's not forget the fact that with Virginia, she was in office for 3 days before she just started hammering through the most god-awful bills. And
well, again,
people are screaming, this is not what we voted for. Yeah, it is. She literally said she was going to do this, but that's beside the point. They're getting a taste of, you get what you voted for good and hard. And so people are starting to look and go, what did we do? What did we miss? We need to look back at ourselves. And then you've got New York City. Oh, my God. And New York City is so bad. Mondami is so bad, it's rippling across the country.
Well, it's rippling across the country in a good way.
Yeah, well, that's where I'm going. So take a deep breath. The midterms could be an absolute mess. But with these really late early elections that happened in a couple hot spots, people are going, what just happened? And they're blinking and looking at what's going on. At least some people are. It's waking a few people up.
Oh, it's waking up more than just a few people. Because, for example, hey guys, hold on, I got some boy.
Yep. Oh, excuse me.
No worries.
Oh, it's the weather over here.
What's it like?
50 degrees and wet.
It's finally
Everything's
above.
melting,
It's
so it's
finally
really
above
humid.
freezing again.
Yes, yes.
That's good.
Yeah, so if it's 50 down here for me, it's probably right about freezing for you.
It's still around. It's 29 degrees. So yeah, it's just. Yeah, you were pretty spot on. Good job.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it has sounded like it's been raining for the last 48 hours here because everything is melting off of the roof.
Can
It's
your
been coming
area
down.
handle that much rain? Is it used to that much rain?
Oh, yeah. We get water constantly around me. It's not been raining. It's just all the melt water. It sounds like it's been raining.
I see.
As it goes from the second floor to the first and then the ground.
Right.
I actually had to go out and check my gutters to make sure they were empty enough for it to flow.
All right, guys. Sorry about that. I apologize.
No worries.
You're not
But
not accepted.
but yeah, no. The whole thing ends up becoming that the overarching consensus by people is that, okay, this shit's insane. We cannot allow this to fucking permeate our states. You know, I will use the example with Mamdani. We already are seeing socialist groups in New York are now trying to push the mayor's office to institute legislation that prevents people from pulling their money and selling their assets and whatnot in New York.
No, some of that has already happened with the when you're selling land and buildings. That's already happened.
Yep.
I know.
Socialism. It's so good you have to prevent people from leaving.
That's right. Usually,
And another thing too, I saw this on one of Kirsch's VODs yesterday, where I forget what this fucker's name was, but he was a black guy from New York City, and I'm guessing he's aligned with Mamdani. But he was up on stage, on camera, bragging about white people leaving the area he runs.
Yeah, that guy. Yes, one of the city aldermen.
Well,
I know who you're talking
you might
about.
want to. Here's what I want to say. These idiots, it seems like they're pushing for a race war, and they better be careful before they get it. And I don't think that if they do get it, they're going to like the end result.
Okay, first off, they want a race war because a race war benefits them. It benefits them greatly. See, the British system, which is what it is called, the British system benefits off of diversion, deception, and subversion. So, diverting people's attention, deceiving people on what is actually going on, and then subverting groups that are capable of resisting. The British system thrives off those three things. And across the board, they are desperate to get a race war going in the United States because they either want the U.S. going to war with Russia, they want us to go to war with China, going to war with Iran, or they want us killing each other.
Well, let me ask you this in a hypothetical situation. How exactly would their side losing be of a benefit to them?
Because-
BRB, I got to go do
because
dishes.
these are not. Remember, the British system doesn't give a fuck. The British system is above the people of a nation. It's a system. It's digitized. It's ethereal. It can move from place to place. It doesn't give a fuck about the people of the nation in which it resides. It just needs to be able to remain existing. And thus, getting a race war started here in the United States would literally be to the benefit of the British system, because then that diverts the attention of the United States. It subverts the United States from being able to continue building ARC, America, Russia, China, because that's already, dude, ARC is in full swing. It's just not in the open. It's very clear it's in full swing. Again, we'll talk about Hungary. The U.S. just made a nuclear deal with Hungary after the Hungarians just signed a nuclear deal with the Russians. We're talking about a situation where the three great powers that remain in the world, because the British system relies on destroying great powers. As long as there's no great powers that are able to resist, the British system can continue thriving. How do you decapitate the great powers? Take out the big one. See, here's the thing. A lot of people don't think about this. Number two cannot fight number one without the help of number three. If number three sits out the war, then number two can't win against number one. And number one can't fight number three or number two without risking the chance that number two and number three gang up on it.
Yep.
So you have a balance of power on which neither side, no side of this triangle is going to move against one another. So what do? You work together. And again, the British system just relies on perpetual existence. That's all that matters.
It's the perpetual motion machine that eats itself.
No, it's the perpetual motion parasite.
Yeah.
And it consumes whatever host it has taken over. For example, I will point out that Tom Luongo, he gave a very good read on what they were attempting to do. They were trying to move City of London, the British system. They were attempting to move it to Singapore. And then we put a hard fucking stop to that. We ring fenced them in City of London, and we said, no, you don't get to run away.
When did this happen?
This was over the course of the past year and a half. This was part of the breakdown of SOFR, and part of the breakdown of LIBOR. The breakdown of LIBOR, coupled with the unwinding of the yen carry trade, coupled with forcing through a lot of these trade deals in Southeast Asia, it ring-fenced City of London. The British system is stuck in Europe, and that's how we kill it. Because we ring-fence it, and we start it. How do you kill a tapeworm?
Starve it.
That's the old
You
classic
starve
way
it
of doing
and you
it.
hope it doesn't work its way to your brain.
Yep. You either hit it with a fucking antimicrobial or anti-parasitic, or you fucking starve the bitch. Water. That's the fun thing, is like, a lot of people don't realize this. That's how they this is why tapeworms used to be lethal. Because the only way to get rid of a tapeworm back in the day was to starve it. And that's how you that's how you handle the British system, is you starve it. And once it's starved, it falls apart. Without new blood, new money, new resources, et cetera, it can't keep going. And so, Stoner, to your point, they want the race war because it diverts the attention of the United States and subverts the United States so that the United States can't continue ring fencing it. Because the U.S. is the only one capable of fighting this. The Chinese and the Russians can support us, but they can't fight it on their own. They can't do it. But the U.S. can. And that's the point.
Yeah, and for a slight clarification, it's not so much they specifically want a racial war in America. It's they want a war in America. They want some sort of civil conflict / war in America, so we can't focus on anything outside of the country. They're just using race as an easy card to play.
Yes, and just on that topic of them wanting a race war, just a message out there to those of you in ICE: continue only shooting white Karens.
Yeah.
Then you're not going to ever have to worry about any race riots.
Oh yeah, no, and that's the thing is.
Well, hey, you know what? With their aim has been pretty good, so let them keep it up.
Yep.
Well, and that's the thing is, at the end of the day, a lot of these people, again, as I said, 16% of the population, but only about 5% are the real true believers. The rest of them are just useful idiots. They're fodder.
Yes.
I need to crunch some numbers real quick. You said 16%.
It's about 56 million people. But the problem is that logistics. You need a state apparatus in order to move an army. You can't move. Like, here's the thing, and this is something that I've learned over my years and years and years of fucking studying logistics at this point in time. On an individual basis, with normal resources taken into account, we could feasibly form together about a company's worth of men. So let's say 150. If you actually look back in history, the militia groups, for example, that made up the early revolution in the United States, 100 to 150 men was the norm.
Yep.
That's what each individual group was able to sustain around a company's element. But that's the best that most of us are capable of doing. The apparatus required to muster battalions and regiments and brigades and divisions, it's a state level apparatus, period, in a story, that has to do it.
Okay, I'm whittling those numbers down a bit. Because here's what I'm doing. I am doing a population of the United States between the ages of 18 and 60. And let's go with the high number of 180 million. All right. What is 16%?
Stoner, I'm just letting you know you should drop that number to 14.
Why is that?
Because they're going to utilize child soldiers quite a bit.
Oh, they already are. Look at the schools.
Yep.
No. You don't understand. See, the problem is that because they have control of the schools the way they do, they're going to rile up kids, and then
that's what I just said. Look at the schools. No. They're already riling them up now. All they got to do is just turn the heat up even more.
Okay. The problem is what happens when you hand a kid a gun.
Yeah, I know. All you got to do is just
Oh.
keep spinning them up, spinning them up, spinning them up. They're practicing that right now. They've been practicing it for years. All you got to do is just keep pounding one thing into them over and over and over, and the sky is falling. The sky is falling. If you don't do something, there's not going to be anything left for you. You have to do something. Oh, and by the way, there's a you in this corner.
All right, they couldn't go down to 14, but 15 to 64, that is 216 million people.
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah.
Take 15% of that.
Help me remember that number. What was it? Hold on.
216 million.
160.
Oh.
And mind you, that's based off flawed census data. The population's probably even lower than that, but still, got to take it into account. They're within the borders. They're capable. They can carry a rifle. They can fucking shoot.
Yes.
Yeah. Do about 15% of that 160, and then of that second number, do about five or maybe 8%, and that's the number of extreme violent running around shooting and torching and killing everybody they can find.
All right, that is about. All right, that is an army of about 41,600,000 troopers.
Okay, no, that's not an army. That's called a manpower pool.
Yeah.
Again, I just established without a state-level apparatus, logistically speaking, it is impossible to muster more than about 150 men.
Yeah, and on top of that, did you do the second division on that?
Yeah.
Because you have to.
Okay,
because the true believers will be the first ones to fire shots. Absolutely.
Okay, let's do that other division. Divided by what?
6-7%.
6 to 8. Yeah.
I just realized I said the thing.
Between 5 and 8%, so do like 6 or 7.
Let's do 6.5%.
Well, since it's you, Stoner, why don't you do 69% or 6.9%?
We thought it was funny.
Yes.
See, I haven't done math in a while.
Yeah, don't worry.
All right, divided by 6.5.
Wait, you wouldn't be dividing it by 6.5. You'd be doing 6.5% of it. So that would be times 0.65.
Sorry, I haven't done math in a while.
No worries.
That's why I was wondering, like, you got a high number there on that first set.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh yeah, that'd be 27,000. That'd be a force of 27 million troopers.
Hold on.
Let me.
No, you're doing the math wrong.
Hold on. Let me. Okay, so 300.
I'm sorry. I'm
200.
sorry. Math was never my strong suit, other than adding and subtraction and multiplication and division.
Actually, just tell me the numbers. I can do this real quick. So
start at an able body of about 160 million people.
All right, 160.
And then cut.
I'm literally doing it right now. Hold on.
Times.
Yeah, and then cut that to.
6. That's 200.
25%, 30%, and then cut that number by down to 5 to 8%.
All right, that's 1.28 million.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, and honestly speaking, yeah, that's probably close to their like true musterable manpower. But here's the problem: is that then you have the rest of the manpower pool that is capable of support logistics.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we need
But
to put this we need to put this shit on a nice pretty graph so we can actually be able to visualize these numbers.
I'll you know, fuck it, I'll do some work later
Yeah, but
when I have free time.
Because trying to conceptualize this is not really easy. If we could like have a visual reference to show the people, yeah, that would be a hell of a lot better.
Well,
Okay,
I can give you some really ballpark numbers. You know, you got an effective manpower pool in the country total of about 160 million people. You're never going to be able to get them all. You cut that by general voting demographics, because you got about 30, 30, and 40. That's how the country votes.
Mhm.
Oh, God. And yes, I know I'm over 100% there. I did it intentionally. Actually, no, that is 100%. Never mind. Sorry. And then of that, 30% of 160 million, which call it 25-ish million without me doing any math, then you're looking at another 5 to 8%, which is about 1.5 million people. And that 1.5 million are the really violent extremists that they could theoretically arm up and get out on the street doing dirty.
Yeah.
But you've got that 18 to 20 million behind them as support. To be able to move that kind of manpower, you need a country behind you. You need the logistical operations of, at the very least, state level, if not country level. Otherwise, you're basically just moving around a bunch of guys in a bus.
Well, here's the thing: they do have some state level support.
No. Sir, you don't understand. We're talking about state level logistics. We're talking about the ability to muster. Okay, let me start at the very bottom. You have the ability to access the manpower. You have to have the ability to conscript the manpower. You have to have the ability to muster the manpower. You have to have the ability to train the manpower. You have to have the ability to equip the the manpower. You have to have the ability to feed the manpower. You have to have the ability to water the manpower. The level of logistics we're talking about,
That's
California is,
a state National Guard unit.
yeah, and that's
aren't these schmucks kind of doing that stuff individually on their own?
No.
What they're actively able to do right now is basically move one or two full tour buses. So you're looking at about 100 to 150 people.
Yeah, they
which is a large, quote unquote, militia.
Again, it's a company-sized element.
Mm-hmm.
And the point is that, yeah, that's about what again, if I started coordinating and getting people together on an official basis of, hey, some shit just fucking happened, we're all rallying up, I could effectively coordinate about 150 people's worth of logistics. But that's it. The apparatus required to coordinate the logistics for the manpower that would be required for them to fight a war. This is why they're trying to do the whole insurgency game, because an insurgency play allows them to then be like, okay, we can have a bunch of 150 man fucking operations going on across the board to create as much chaos and fucking derision as possible. But the point is that at the end of the day, are they going to have the ability to muster the forces capable to fight, like truly fight? The answer is relatively no, but it just depends on some outside actors. Because again, I'm viewing it now that the NATO countries themselves are going to be supporting this full on, and we're going to start seeing very well equipped groups coming out of the woodwork very quickly if this kind of thing popped off. But again, that's why we're avoiding allowing it to pop off. They tried to muster up a response to Peretti, and they realized that it fell on fucking deaf ears.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's why they have to try to play the race war card. That's why you have all these blacks and all these Muslims or Arabs, whatever the fuck. It's Muslim coded. You have all these blacks and all these Muslims, or Afro-Americans, I should say, not blacks, but all these Afro-Americans and Muslims coming out of the woodwork now, talking about how they need to prevent the whites from fleeing New York, because if they flee New York and take all their resources with them, then, oh my God.
Yep.
And mind you, I made a joke. I'm like I was talking to my dad, because, Poe made a comment to me one time about she wanted to go to charity galas. And I told her, why go to a charity gala when we can hold one ourselves? And she was like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I plan on forming my own charity at some point in time. Because, oh, by the way, I want to be able to use my money for what I want to use it for. And I also want a massive tax write-off.
Yeah. You do it right, you can write most of it off, yeah.
And you know what I would love to do with my money? Fuck it. I'll pay the fucking utility bills and rent and shit for people in Southeast Ohio. Like, hey, you're not able to cover your rent or your a utility this month, or your house payment or whatever? Give me a call. Put in a form. We'll give you a grant. And then I made the joke in connection to that charity. It's like, hey, what if we started resettling a bunch of these motherfuckers from New York here to Southeast Ohio and, started building up the manpower of this region? Be kind of fucking hilarious. Oh, by the way, it'd be really fucking funny. Take a part of the downtown area of Cambridge, tear down a shit ton of the old buildings, build a really nice 10-story fucking office building, be able to get some of these high level corpos in that building.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
At the end of the day, you can make the building look like it fits. It doesn't have to be one of these, newfangled fucking glass fucking embellished pieces of shit that, everybody wants to seem to build. No. Fucking build a really nice fucking red brick fucking building, make it 10 stories tall. You could make it look like it was always there. Put some really nice shop fronts in the bottom floor. Make it office space all the way up. There you go. But that's the point. And this is where the way we think versus the way they think is diametrically opposed. They, as the parasites, have to parasite. Whereas us, the builders, we're like, no, go fuck yourself. We're gonna starve you, and we're gonna be building. We're not letting you be a parasite anymore. Fuck you.
I can't wait to see what they're like when they be flipping out.
Well, frankly speaking, they're already in full flip out. Let's be honest. They're a bunch of Nancy Prancies.
I thought we had yet to see them truly flip out.
Well,
There it is. Sorry, I was looking for something.
yeah, and in answer to Stoner's question, there are degrees of flipping out, and they're definitely in one of the degrees of flipping out already.
Well, actually, to be completely fair, they are absolutely losing their fucking minds. Mamdani, there's been tidbits that have come out of his office over the course of the past couple weeks now, where they're freaking out because they didn't realize how bad the deficit was going to be.
Yeah. Yeah,
And the Federal Reserve,
show and a half.
the Federal Reserve ain't bailing them out.
Did they honestly think? Well, did they honestly think that the Federal Reserve was going to bail them out?
Most
full-blown Marxists don't think that far in advance.
No, they don't. But the point is that they thought that they were going to have, like, here's the point. Is during the Biden junta, they didn't believe that there were that many assets moving out of New York. I don't think they realized how much of Wall Street actually had left already.
Yeah.
Because when Biden came into office, a lot of Wall Street was like,
Yeah, you have to remember when Biden came into office, it was during the COVID shutdowns.
True.
yeah.
So everything was slow. People weren't doing as much as they thought. And as things came back and started ramping back up or came back online, oh, wait, they're in different places now.
Well, not
Or they
just
didn't come
that.
back.
Not just that, but look at what happened with a lot of the banks. A lot of the banks had, they had moved their fucking headquarters out of New York City.
Yeah.
And then JP Morgan was like, hey, we're going to put our headquarters here in New York. But now, they're holding to that, which then tells me that there's something going on with New York that we don't see. But the point is a lot of the other banks, they've already moved out of New York. And then furthermore, there's a lot of the capital funds. They're gone. They've shut down operations in New York and have opened operations up in Nashville and in Dallas.
Yep.
And Charlotte. I shouldn't forget Charlotte. But, point is that they're like, oh no, we're gone. Bye. And again, New York is staring down the barrel of the gun of the greatest city deficit in the history of the United States. No time ever has any city been staring down such an abysmal deficit. And without being able to borrow the money in order to cover that deficit, what the fuck are they supposed to do?
Yep.
You got two options. You go bankrupt, or you put in such obscenely confiscatory taxes that you can only do it once before everybody riots.
Or they leave.
Yep.
Which now
Which
they're
is what they're
realizing,
doing.
oh shit, we got to keep people from leaving.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is that all the big money has already moved out.
Yeah.
Now it's all see, and this is the problem. Is I was laughing when I was seeing the numbers. I was like, all the big money moved way before now, and it's all the middle money that's running now.
Yep. A really good example of that is Bernie Sanders. And hear me out, because it might sound strange right off the first. For decades, he was going, we have to tax the millionaires. Well, he became a millionaire, so We have to tax the millionaires.
Yep.
That's what's going on in New York.
So
All the big businesses left.
Yeah.
So now they got to go after the family business.
Yep. So just since the budget deficit was brought up, current budget deficit for New York City for fiscal year 2026 is projected to be $2.2 billion. For fiscal year 2027, $10.4 billion.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
For just the city.
Yeah.
$7.5 billion difference in 1 year.
Yep.
That's how much they've lost.
It literally is a factor, goes up by a factor of 5. It's 5 times budget deficit.
And by the way, that's not the end of it. By 2028, place is going to be looking like Detroit.
Yep.
28 or 29, yeah.
Oh no! People are going to see the writing on the wall. By 28, you're going to have the working class start leaving New York.
Yeah.
Because what's left of the middle class is fleeing now.
Anybody that's able to do so, yeah, pretty much.
Oh no, dude! People are taking the hits. I'll speak personally. I had the portion of my family that was still in Scotland. They're over here in the States now. They sold off their entire fucking family business. Ended up paying a shit ton in taxes overall to the British government. But they took the $750K that they had left. They came over here. They settled in Texas down with the Texas branch of our family. And they just reopened all their businesses basically. They just started doing the same shit they were doing before.
Sounds about right.
And they are fucking, the last time I heard what was going on with them, they were astounded by how little in taxes that they were being charged. Just on a business level, not even just the fact that they weren't being charged as much on an individual level.
Mm-hmm.
And then, furthermore, they were like, wait a minute, this was apparently one of the things that really stood out to them. They're like, healthcare isn't actually that expensive, for example, because they started going to a private practice because, over there with the whole universal healthcare thing that the British have, you don't have private practices in the traditional sense. They're all networks. Well, my one cousin, she's the matriarch of the family. She started going to a private practice. It's a practice with I think it's 3 doctors all total. They have a medium-sized clinic. It's a pretty good little outfit. They get charged chump change compared to what they were paying in taxes.
Yep.
And then apparently, they learned, hey, don't say you have insurance when you go get medications from the pharmacy.
Yep.
Apparently they learned that one real fucking fast.
Unless your insurance is going to cover all of it, yeah, do the math and find out which is going to cost you less.
Yeah. Then
that's the thing. That's the thing is they've sworn off insurance at this point in time because they're like, no, it's just going to be better for us in general, because it's generalistic shit that they need. So they're like, no, fuck the insurance. We're not fucking paying the fucking ridiculous copays. We'll just fucking pay, the $20, $30 fucking dollars for the fucking medication.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, I hear you. I wish I was in that situation. I'm an edge case. I go to the pharmacist every month, and it's $300 with insurance. Without insurance, it would be over $2,000.
Yeah, but you've also got some specialty medications that
Yeah, like I said, I'm an edge case. I know I'm an edge case.
Yeah.
No, what was it I want to say it was like 2010, 2017. Yeah, something like that. I had an ingrown, I suffer from chronic ingrown toenails. I actually had to get surgery on my toe to prevent it from happening.
You too?
Yeah, it's one of the only bad things I inherited from my mom.
Yeah, I got a big toe that has half a toenail. They had to cut the back for one of them.
Yeah, no, yeah, she cut the sides and then used acid to burn away the sides. It looks normal. By the way, it looks normal. It doesn't look like anything out of the ordinary. It doesn't grow down into the sides. But no, I had to go get a prescription for antibiotics because of how bad the infection was, and didn't have insurance. I paid like $20.
Yeah.
If it's an old school antibiotic, yep.
Yep. So much about what you hear about, the U.S. healthcare system is just utter nonsense. Like,
well, no, it's because
to use it or are being abused by it.
Yeah, even like, for example, whenever you hear people talk about like the U.S. and Canada, you'd think that like, if you listen to the average person, that like people in Canada would be paying way less. But like, for example, my wife has a certain prescription. Another friend of mine also has a similar prescription. In Canada, that prescription actually costs more. I'm paying $120 per month for mine in Canada with our free healthcare, and my friend, for something similar, is paying like $80 a month. And yeah, so for all that, yeah. I don't know, 30% of my money that's stolen in taxes every paycheck, it's I'm getting worse service than you are down south.
Well, and here's the fun part, and this is a topic that nobody's gonna like actually having to acknowledge, but it's the truth. Giving access to everyone is not the best idea if you don't have the infrastructure in place to do it.
Yep.
See, here in the U.S., we have a deficit of around. I've done the math and I've done the research on this. It was about 400,000 or so. It was a little more than 400,000, but we have about 400,000. Let's just go for 400,000. 400,000. A 400,000 person deficit in our overall health system.
Yeah,
that's
about
doctors, nurses, fucking caregivers, fucking pharmacists, across the board.
We're actually short closer to 500,000 providers.
Yeah.
And I not the 400,000, because if you take that 400,000 of bodies that aren't there, you really need to add about 100,000 people that graduated that really should not have.
Yep.
Okay. Because, you know what? Fair enough.
Because I've got an inside look at a lot of that medical stuff, just because of my family. And
fair enough. But the point is,
no, I've asked one of my uncles flat out. It's, where did that person end up getting hired? Are they in my state? And if they are, tell me where, because I will never go there.
Well, yeah, I trust me, I get it. But then, the other problem is, on top of the deficit that we have in the providers, you also have to take into consideration the insurance companies, where, a lot of people think, insurance companies don't ever want to pay out. No. The insurance companies have incentivized the healthcare system, or as I would like to refer to it as the health grift system. They have incentivized organizations like University Hospital and you know what? I'll just stick with naming University Hospital because I know they're prolific with it. We'll just stick with them.
Really bad too. But yeah.
They've incentivized these hospitals and these hospital systems to literally overcharge the fuck out of the insurance companies.
Oh yeah.
Which then causes the need for for the insurance companies to then charge more onto the people who are buying the insurance.
Oh yeah. Well, it's worse than that. I mean, yeah, that's bad. It gets worse than that. The insurance company gives the hospital a price. Okay, for uninsured and insured. The hospital then it increases the insured price even more, gets a kick. They get that extra buffer. They send portion of it back to the insurance companies as a kickback, and then some of that money goes from patient to hospital to insurance company. The insurance company then sends a portion of that money back to the hospital as a secondary kickback.
Yep.
The hospitals are getting paid twice, if not 3 times, for every person that uses insurance.
Yep. And then again, you have the NDAs with pharmacists. See, here's the problem: is that you used to be able to walk into a pharmacy, and pharmacists, you know, and this is the sad part about it, is pharmacists are licensed medical professionals. They aren't just some.
Oh yeah, you just to be a licensed pharmacist, one that can actually run the pharmacy, not just work at the counter, but dispense and run and do everything in there. You're still going to school for 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the point is that because of all the new regs and all the new changes, and then the pharmaceutical companies coming in with their NDAs, if you say you have insurance, and this is true across the board, anybody who doesn't believe me, fucking go to a pharmacy the next time you need to get something and try it. Be like, hey, is there a generic available for this? Well, let me get your insurance information first.
Yep.
Every time. They will not give you that information until they know you have insurance or not. Because then they'll go in the back for a second, they'll pretend like they're looking around, and they'll be like, unfortunately we don't have any generics for that. Even though there's a generic for every single fucking medication under the fucking sun, other than the few.
After the first 10 years, I forget if it's 10 or 12 years.
It's 12. And again, I was going to qualify it by saying, except for those currently under patent law.
Yep.
And oh, by the way, everybody, you know, if you want to know why your insulin prices are so fucking much, look into patent law, you fucking nubs.
Yeah, they keep re-upping the patent.
Yeah. But that's the whole point.
The real kicker with insulin, the guy that created it never patented the damn thing. That way it could be as cheap as possible for the people that needed it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, the original way that he made insulin is no longer legal.
Interesting.
Of course.
What a surprise.
Yeah, no, the pharmaceutical, I forget which pharmaceutical company it was off the top of my head. I'd have to go back and look. It's probably Johnson & Johnson, to be honest. They created their own version of his formula, patented their own version, and then lobbied to make his formula illegal because it was considered unsafe, quote unquote.
Makes sense that that would be Johnson & Johnson, because that is a real fucking dick move.
Yeah, Johnson & Johnson or Merck. But Merck really isn't around that much anymore.
Yeah. But no, that's the whole point, is that at the end of the day, you know, this is the nuance. And this is what a lot of people don't seem to fucking understand across the board about the healthcare system in the United States. And this is why you have all the memes that the Europeans love to share around, and all the Canadians and all the other fuckheads. Funny enough, there is one nation that really actually does get it.
Who?
Brazil.
You there? The what?
Brazil.
Oh, Brazil. Okay.
Brazil suffers under similar problems that we do when it comes to their healthcare system.
Interesting.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, part of the other reason why our medical care in America is so either extremely high or really low is you either have pennies on the dollar generics, or you've got really high-end medical care, and we don't have something in between. We really don't have that middle ground medical care that a lot of countries have, because we create a crap ton of it, so we get the old stuff really, really cheap, and then there's the really new stuff that only the stupidly wealthy can afford. That's why you hear these horror stories where I went to the hospital and it was $1 million 2 days later.
Well, and again, this is why people who, again, you have to look into this shit. You have to actually research it. You have to actually learn about it. You know, there's a reason why, you know, when we get the family trust together, we're creating a medical fund within the trust that we submit medical bills to, and then the trust pays it out. Because fuck it, why not just have private insurance at this point in time?
I would love it if we could have legal private insurance again. True legal private insurance again. Because Obamacare, the Affordable Health Care Act, basically it made it illegal. It made it so difficult as to be nearly impossible to get.
Of course.
And the way they did that is all insurance plans have to cover at least X number of things per level of plan. And each plan could not leave the state. You could use your insurance coverage in a different state if you were out of state. But the company had to have 50 versions of the same plan, one for each state.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, if you're a guy, you don't need to have your ovaries checked every couple years. Well, if you're a guy and you're on Obamacare, your plan covers you getting your ovaries checked every couple years.
Oh, yeah, that's stupid.
Yes.
Yeah,
But I can
bankrupt the insurance
but-
company.
Yeah, well, I can honestly tell you that back before the Obamacare bullshit became the law of the land, health insurance was a hell of a lot better and a hell of a lot more affordable than it is now.
It was designed Obamacare was designed to do that. It was designed to make health insurance so unpopular and so expensive for the average user that it would fail, and the government would have to come in, and then you'd have Britain and Canada and a lot of European countries.
You would have the conservatorship of Fannie and Freddie 2.0.
Yep.
You know, I honestly would love to see us go back to the old system, which was more affordable, but
We almost
I don't
did.
know. Yeah, well, I seriously doubt I don't think we're going back to the old system again. I think we're just going to have to suffer under the bullshit we have now.
No, okay, stop that. Because first off, as soon as Fannie and Freddie come out of conservatorship, Obamacare dies. You have to understand why did Obama put Fannie and Freddie into conservatorship? He put it into a conservatorship so he could use the money from Fannie and Freddie, because it makes a shit ton of money every year. He put it into conservatorship to pay for Obamacare. That's why they did it. And now the money from Fannie and Freddie isn't going into Obamacare. Fannie and Freddie is now buying mortgage-backed securities like they used to. Trump can't bring it out on conservatorship right now because, unfortunately, he doesn't have the guarantee of 363 lending. If he had the guarantee of 363 lending right now, he would do it in a heartbeat, but he doesn't have that guarantee right now. And for those who are interested, 363 lending is borrow at 3, lend at 6 on the golf course by 3.
Yeah, pretty much.
But the problem is that guarantee isn't there right now, because right now the rates would probably be around 9% overall. Because until we finally beat these assholes in the the long side of the yield curve, because here's the thing: the short side of the yield curve, we're fucking crushing them across the board. That's what SOFR was meant to do. SOFR killed their ability to operate in the short side of the yield curve. The long side of the yield curve, they still have a lot of power. They're still able to do whatever the fuck they want. I'm going to point this out to people. Everybody asks, why do we have a national debt in the amount that we do? I can tell you what it is. It's the around $4.8 trillion that the British and its the Bank of England and its subsidiary banks around the world control. That's about 4.8 trillion of our national debt right there. Oh, by the way, the Chinese don't even control $1 trillion. Again, I go back to the Steve Bannon crowd on that. Because they're the ones that got everybody spun up into a tizzy because of China.
Yeah.
And yet, the long side of our yield curve is not controlled by them whatsoever. It's controlled by the fucking British. And mind you, again, what is a mortgage? It's a 30-year loan. It's a 30-year fucking bit of debt that if you go and look at, actually, let me actually go look at it real quick. 4.688%. That's what it is currently.
That's the current mortgage rate?
No, that's the current yield on a 30-year treasury.
You said 3.8 or 4.8?
4.688.
Okay.
So almost 4.7.
Okay.
But again, you're borrowing at 4.6%, and you're gonna lend above that. Right now, my math was almost exact. Right now, mortgage rates would be, if everything was playing out the way it should be, mortgage rates would be around 9% right now. Like, that's why Fannie and Freddie can't come out of conservatorship yet. It's better that they keep it in conservatorship, just have it keep propping up the mortgage-backed security market, and then at that point in time, it's like, okay, cool, we can work in the background to bring down the rates, and then we got it. You know, eventually we got to figure out how to get rid of the control that the Brits have over our long end of the yield curve. But here's the thing: is we might actually have the methodology for that. All this fucking fraud we're identifying.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can start proving that people are buying U.S. Treasuries using fraudulent money and then demanding a coupon payment, it's like, no. You got that from fraudulent cash, motherfucker. Get bent. We're canceling that fucking coupon.
Yeah, I was fixing to ask all this fraud and shit that's been going on in California and Minnesota and all these other states. How is that going to affect our national debt? I was wondering about that.
Oh, you're seeing the effect already. You're seeing the effect right now, dude. The 38 trillion that we're currently under, like I bet you dollars to donuts, at least 50% of it's fraud. At least. Bare minimum. Probably even 75%.
I would say a combination of that 50% is a combination of fraud and money going out of the country. And I'm drawing a blank on the name for it.
Remittance?
Thank you.
No. So that national debt is in the bond market. So what you have, more than likely, is you just have this constant ongoing pressure. Because I wouldn't be surprised to find out, like, if they do an audit of the national debt, like they get down and they start figuring out, which, mind you, Scott Bessent probably already has this data. He probably already fucking, like, hey, who's collecting on these coupon payments? He's probably already figured out the list.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why he's crushing the fuck out of the Brits like he does.
Yeah, a good example of the debt being so high, the way you're describing it, is in Minnesota itself, is before Waltz entered office, they had a statewide $10 million surplus or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And now they're like 20 million in the hole.
Sounds about right.
And that compounds year over year.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that Minnesota state surplus. You know who was the governor at the time when that first started happening?
Who?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Jesse Ventura.
That's funny.
That's right.
That's funny.
That's right. He was.
There is a reason why a lot of the older Minnesotans that I ran into up there, there's a reason why they liked him.
Oh, fun fact. You know who recently announced that he's going to be running for the next governor of Minnesota? 2026?
Jesse Ventura.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
That's funny. That is funny.
Well, he's
unless there's some sort of really crazy shit going on, he's got a good chance.
Yeah.
well, he was governor there once. I'm pretty sure they'll elect him in there again. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think the reason why he quit being governor is, well, he just quit running. I think that's why he left.
There was something going on where he was going to run again, but there was something going on in the background in his life where he had to step back.
You also have to remember though. At the time, he was doing a TV series where he was exposing conspiracy theories and shit. And
he was doing all sorts of stuff.
I'm pretty sure him exposing the elites did not endear him to those in political power.
Well, the simple fact is that, and this is really the crux of it all, is at the end of the day, you have a situation where the national debt is not as high as somebody might think. I don't believe it is. Again, I believe full-heartedly that...
Is that you beeping on your end?
Yes, and then my fucking earbud immediately goes like, oh, hey, I'm dying.
Oh, yeah, no, it's fine. The only reason I asked is whatever it is that beeps on your end, I have something that makes the exact same sound, and when I hear it, I have to go find out what it is, because that's an alert for a problem.
Oh. Yeah, it's telling you to change your smoke detector batteries.
Actually, no, that's a different sound for me. Because I use a specific...
we call that the ceiling bird.
I didn't know you were black.
Chirp.
Do you remember where I live?
Fair enough.
White folks and black folks have lived together so long down here to where we are basically a fully integrated culture.
Yeah, the main difference, as long as you got good parents in that area, is who's going to burn in the sun first.
Well, that's almost nicer. Nine times out of 10, it was me that burnt first. But by the time I got done burning, me and my half Puerto Rican cousin looked very similar.
It looks like a bug on it.
But no, the whole point is that on the whole, it's like, hey, if they have gained access to these coupon payments, because that's the thing, is they're giving us cash, and in return, we're paying them a coupon on the debt, and then eventually we'll pay the debt back. Well, if it turns out, oh, hey, you gained this bond using money that you stole from us, well, then at that point in time, it's like, nah, fuck your debt. Fuck your coupon. You don't get from us. Fuck you. And I bet you dollars of donuts, that's exactly what's going on right now, where they're looking heavily into that shit. And this is why they're focusing so hard on the Brits, because I think the Brits have a lot of fraudulent money tied up in our bonds, and thus in our national debt. And imagine, all of a sudden, that, $4+ trillion disappears off our national debt. How much more money falls off our national debt as a result of that? Because I bet you there's more money tied up in private banks that we don't even realize.
Oh, more than likely.
Oh, just imagine it. It's like, oh, hey, we found out that the Rockefellers have, $2 trillion of their own coupons that they're getting paid money on. Oh, hey, get rid of that. Fuck them. They got it illegally. We could potentially 50 to 75% of the fucking national debt just by getting rid of all the fraudulent bonds. And then all of a sudden, motherfuckers are sitting there screaming to the high heavens that, oh my God, how dare you? And it's like, don't give a fuck. We ball. But hey, I'm just a goofy. I'm just a goofy little goober. I'm just a goofy little goober. It's actually funny. I don't know if I talked about this with you guys, because it's kind of in relation to this. Tom dropped an idea on one of the podcasts a while back, and I've kind of rolled the idea through my head quite a bit, and now I'm convinced, like, oh my God, this might actually be a play. What if Trump resigns from his post in 2027? Hands the reins off to his hands.
I doubt it.
Why would he do that?
Why not? Do all the work that needs to be done initially. Set up the play. Hit the bastards in a way that they themselves can't compensate for. And you step aside, let Vance take over. He can still run for 2 terms. He can still run.
I seriously doubt it unless his numbers are so underwater, Vance doesn't have a chance in hell of winning.
Now, here's the point. Who was Trump golfing with this past weekend?
Who?
DeSantis, I saw. You told me earlier.
He's golfing with Ron DeSantis. Little Ronnie.
Little Ronnie, yeah.
I suspect
You mean Ron DeSanctus?
DeSanctimonious.
Yes.
I suspect that there's a bit of a changing of the guard that's going to occur in 2027. Because Ron DeSantis is term limited in Florida. What's the next logical step? Where could he have the most impact across the board?
No, I see where you're going with it. That's not the personality. It's not
10%,
personality.
10% is 10%, but you can still make that shot.
Oh, no, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying the chances are very slim.
No, I get it. And Dale, if you haven't put the 2 and 2 together, Attorney General Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
It would be the position that he would be the most effective in.
Oh, absolutely.
And with a Senate that is willing to actually appoint him, because mind you, the current Senate, they would lose their minds. They would absolutely lose their minds.
Yeah, they'd scream bloody murder.
But you get Ron DeSantis in
Absolutely
there.
lose it.
Because here's the thing is I think Pam Bondi, the reason why she was picked was because of the current grand jury they're impaneling down south. Are you guys aware of this?
No,
No.
not off the top of my head. No, what's going on?
They're impaneling a grand jury in regards to Russiagate in Florida.
Oh, no, I had not heard about that.
And where does Pam Bondi come from in
Florida.
terms of where she's been a lawyer for her entire life?
Florida.
She's a Floridian.
Yep. Everybody's like, oh, she's the worst pick possible. Nope. She had a goal, and she was given a mission.
In the background, she does incredible work. But she has a nasty habit of sticking her foot in her mouth.
Yeah. As I have said many times before, they just need to take her phone away from her. That's all they need to do.
No, actually, no. I think I'm going to be completely frank. I think it's all kayfabe. I think it's all fucking kayfabe. Because here's the thing. If all of a sudden they impanel that grand jury, they start serving subpoenas, who's on the list of getting subpoenaed?
Who?
Hold on. You're going to have to cut this out.
All right. One moment.
Security, how can I help you? Oh, okay. Sorry, bud. I'm out in the yard right now. I will be back around that way here in a few minutes. Yeah, I'll be around that way here in a few minutes. I apologize. Yep, bye. Shit.
Problems?
Just driver needs a badge, and
Uh,
I'm over in the yard doing trailers right now. So
yeah, picked up on that.
I need to go over here, do the building check, and then run over there and get his badge. Anyways, all right. But what you end up having is on that list of subpoenas and potential indictments is Barack fucking Obama.
Yep.
And I don't see a situation in which he's not indicted.
That would be nice.
And
So-
being that it's Florida, there's actually a chance of him, there's actually a chance of him being convicted, unlike just nullified by a far-left jury.
Well, guess what? You don't touch the fucking boats, or in this case, you don't raid the king's palace.
Indeed.
So, everybody wants to scream and shout about Pam Bondi. I'm sitting here and I'm like, bitch is doing exactly what she was told. And it's all fucking kayfabe otherwise.
Oh, I'm not saying she isn't doing what she was told, and I don't think Varga is either.
No.
I'm saying she just...
Whenever she
there are
chooses
points
to...
where
Yeah, whenever...
Shut up.
Sorry, go for it.
No, go ahead.
Oh, so whenever she chooses to open her mouth unnecessarily, it hurts whatever cause she's talking about. So it's just like she's doing what she should be doing. She just needs to shut up because she's very bad on camera.
Yeah. Opinions.
Yes.
I look at what happened in the at the House testimony during the committee bullshit. Anybody else pick up on what that was?
Well, I'm just gonna say, the whole "why are we talking about this? The Dow is 50,000" is probably the dumbest thing I've ever heard anyone say. Just from a purely political lens, you're not helping. You're taking the biggest optics L possible.
Yeah. Well, no, it's called a filibuster.
Yes, those don't generally make you look good.
Yeah, well, guess what? That's the point. She gave the House a taste of its own fucking medicine. And they fucking hated it.
Sure.
They fucking hated it.
Sure, but, one should not hurt oneself. One should not do damage to one's own side just to agree. Yeah.
You're viewing it as a binary. Here's the thing: it was a shit sandwich, no matter what. No matter what she said in that entire thing, Massey, Rokana, and all those other little twerps were gonna do and say whatever the fuck they wanted. So why doesn't she just sow fucking chaos in the entire thing, filibuster the fuck out of them, and then they are sitting there fucking losing their shit, chimping out like goddamn fucking Neanderthals the entire fucking time.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you on that. I am saying the general view. Not the end result, but the general view.
That's a people problem.
Yeah.
And that's because people have never watched a filibuster. There
hasn't been a proper filibuster in years.
So
that's the
people don't even remember what they are.
Actually, I have to disagree with you there. Kash Patel did it properly. If you watch the hearings he's done about this, he's handled, he's done what she was trying to do, but actually in a good way. He was good at it, she just wasn't.
Okay, and that's fine. That's fine. See, that's where the conversation should go then.
Yes.
Is it shouldn't be, oh, she was just spouting off nonsense. No, she was filibustering. Did she filibuster well? Okay, that's a conversation.
Yes. And
That's
my
what we've been
opinion
saying,
is,
though.
if you're not good at doing filibust, if you're not good at doing it, you shouldn't, because then it hurts your side. Whereas if you are good at doing it, it doesn't hurt your side. It hurts them more.
Like had she honestly tried answering questions, how would it have looked then?
Hard to
That's
say.
a question we don't know.
Yes. We
Shit
can't know
sandwich.
because it didn't happen.
Yes, it was. Yes, it's a shit sandwich. But the fact that she did a piss poor job of it, whether that was her intention or not, doesn't matter.
Like, it's always
But
going to
the
be a
problem
shit
is-
sandwich. The difference is it 80% shit and 20% sandwich meat, or is it 20% sandwich meat and 20% shit and 80% sandwich meat, right? And her sandwich was 80% shit.
No, it was 100% shit across the fucking board. The entire Epstein thing is 100% shit. Period. In the story.
When she
This
handed
was a
out
matter.
when she handed out those files, that was a disaster of her own making.
Yes.
Remember
dude,
when she
dude,
handed out those files to the Twitter
Yeah,
guys? That was shit that she made.
Yes.
Hold on. Pause.
All right.
1915. Hey, 1915, a good year for the British Empire. Anyways.
I didn't know they had good years.
It was a sarcastic comment. Do I need to start putting r/sarcasm in front of everything I say? Or behind everything I say?
If you start doing Reddit crap like that, you aren't going to have me recording anymore. I'm sorry.
You know you love me, Will.
Toxic.
You know you love me, Will.
Yeah. I do care, but there are some limits.
Yes. Reddit is definitely a hard limit.
That's a place that should be turned into a nuclear wasteland.
Yes.
Oh,
I don't
wait,
disagree.
it is.
All right. Anyways. All right, game back. So, again, my whole point is that at the end of the day, is Kash Patel better at filibustering? We can say that. Go ahead. I don't care. Point is, and you're absolutely correct, Will, there hasn't been a proper filibuster in fucking years. And that's why now they're pissing and shitting themselves because, force those motherfuckers to stand for 30 days. Force it.
The last time there was a proper filibuster, it was actually it was ACA, it was Obamacare, and it was Cruz was up there for like 21 hours talking.
Can you explain what exactly a filibuster is and what the point of one is?
Okay, so how the system works in the Senate is before you vote on a bill, you enter a stage where you debate the bill. And normally you need to get 60 votes in order to, how the fake filibuster works is you need 60 votes in order to move the bill, get out of debate so you can actually vote whether to pass the bill or not. The real filibuster was basically just, you never, the way you don't get out of the debate stage is you just keep talking. So if instead of needing to vote to get out of the debate stage, you just don't stop debating. So various senators just get up and just don't shut the fuck up on the floor, right? And
each senator could go up and speak on the floor twice for as long as they were physically able to do it. But once they sat down the second time, they could not speak again.
Yes.
So theoretically, you could have everybody up there speak twice, totaling 100 times, for as long as physically possible. which ended up usually taking about 30 days. At which point, then there was a forced vote. They had to vote.
That was the original filibuster, and sometime after that, they brought this thing that's known as the zombie filibuster, which is you just need 60 votes in order to get out of debate instead, which is bullshit.
Yep.
But the rationale was that it would allow them to then do other things, so you wouldn't need to waste 30 days doing nothing. But it's still bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, again, we are viewing the world improperly, in my opinion. You know, whether or not you agree with me, that's whatever. I don't give a shit. I have my perception of the world. And the point is that all of a sudden you have a situation where people are fighting back. Now, do they effectively fight back at times? No. Are there times when they absolutely crush it? Absolutely. You look at the Supreme Court. Bondi, and this is the thing, is again, at the end of the day, I look at the filibuster that she did in that committee hearing. Was it great? No, but I understood almost immediately what the fuck it was. I actually sat down and watched it, and I'm like, oh my fucking God, is she doing what because she was literally just sitting there wasting the committee's time. That's all she was doing.
Yes.
There was no rhyme or fucking reason. It was literally, I have these little cards, I'm going to bring these points up, waste the fuck out of the committee's time. And mind you, Thomas Massie tried to use that against her, and several people pointed out, yeah, and she literally sat there wasting your fucking time. I'm not the only one who's fucking saying it, by the way. I'm not the only one. Most people might not put two and two together and realize it was a filibuster, but people are realizing, she literally just wasted your guys' time. That's all she did. She was just throwing shit at you just to force you to shut up. And then by the end of it, you know, they got nothing.
Yeah, I think that's what we're kind of trying to say, though. She does incredible work in the background where people aren't really seeing things. The problem is that up front, where people can see stuff, she does it very poor. She has a habit of doing it very poorly.
Yes.
Well, again, and that's the thing, is you got to understand, one, she's a federal lawyer. She's always worked in federal courts. She's not used to having cameras on her, to be completely frank.
Oh no, yeah, oh, absolutely, she's not. Yeah, I entirely agree with that.
And at the end of the fucking day, it's fuck it, she's got to wing it. Again, this is a case of, yeah, literally, that's all it is fuck it, we ball. If they want me to sit here and fucking entertain their bullshit, I'm gonna make this as insufferable for them as possible. And that's exactly what fucking happened. Thomas Massie, I have seen some crash outs from that man before. I have never seen a vein bulging in his forehead like that. That motherfucker was livid the entire time because he thought he was going to march her up there and rake her over the fucking coals and fucking spank her and call her a bad girl. And then all of a sudden he's sitting there and he's like, what the fuck is she saying? Why isn't she going by the script? There was a script. Did nobody send her the script?
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm sitting here and I'm I'm happy. At the end of the day, I recognize the simple facts, and I've liked everything that she's done so far. Again, the little L's are literally, and it's optical. Most of the L's are optical at the best of times.
Yeah, but that's part of the problem.
Unfortunately,
80% of the people.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Unfortunately, when you're dealing with mass democracy, optics are important, right? And if you take too many L's, it ends up fucking you over. So you should try to stop taking the L's.
Well, and
especially
again,
if you don't need to.
Yeah, Any unforced
But she-
L is a
Oh,
massive
well,
mistake.
Okay, first off, I'm going to say this right now. She was forced to take that out.
Mhm.
She was forced to. She had to sit in front of that committee. She had to.
Yes.
She couldn't fucking delay it any longer. Like, I'm sorry. Like, at the end of the day, and watch. At this point in time, what we're going to see, and I'll put fucking money on this shit, we're going to see a situation where she just knuckles down, fucking gets this grand jury impaneled, because, again, grand jury impanelments, I don't know if you guys have a concept of this. I do, because I've worked in the industry. It takes fucking 8 months to 9 months to get a grand jury impaneled. It takes fucking forever. So towards the middle of this year, I would say probably July to August, shit's going to fucking start rolling. It is going to roll hard up. And all of a sudden, people are going to be singing Pam Bondi's fucking praises. Because all of a sudden, she rolls up Comey. She rolls up Brennan. All of a sudden, she's got Obama in a headlock. And all of a sudden, people are just going to be sitting there like, wait, what the fuck happened? Like, that's the thing. It's like, people are freaking out right now. And it's like, yo, bros, we're in February.
Yeah,
We
have to also take into consideration the four of us spend a lot more time looking at this stuff than 80% of the population. So we can see things like this, where the vast majority only see
That's
the
why I
top,
invest.
see the top 10 or 20%. And that's the voters.
Yes.
Well, and that's the thing. That's why I invest so much time into talking to people.
Take people into consideration, especially because we're going into the midterms.
Yes. Like, it's unfortunate, but the average voter is very, very fickle. It's hard. It's very easy to alienate them, as annoying as it is.
Okay. I have a position on that, though.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing. We go back to the discussion we were having about Bannon. Very similar names. Ironic, isn't it? Go back to the conversation of Bannon. And you can see it. You can fucking see it. You go into the comments on, Alex Kramer. I posted the live stream in the channel for you guys. Alex Kramer brought up something. Ben Stiller wrote an article talking, ICE bad. You go into the comments of that article, and it's people just dragging the fuck out of Ben Stiller. Just absolutely dragging the fuck out of him. Then you go on Twitter, and there's a full melee in all of these comment sections. The replies are just people beating the utter living shit out of each other. I understand the propensity to be like the normal person, but here's the thing: is the normal person's only paying attention to a couple things.
Yeah, and she makes a lot of noise, and people can use her noise, which causes problems. And I think that's what Mark and I are trying to say.
Yes, I get that. That's not lost on me. But the problem is again, we go back to the poll numbers. Epstein ranks at 2%.
Well, so to be fair, that was a poll of what is the most important issue. It wasn't a poll of is this issue important or do you care about this? It's just what do you care about the most. So
yes, but that is the more accurate. No. Okay, so if you ask people what is the more important issue, that's a flawed question. Because then you're forcing people to sit there and have to think, and then they run into the peer pressure. where if you just ask people, what is your most important issue? They don't have to think about it. They can just say it.
Yes.
The less a person has to think about it, the less problems you have getting an answer out of them. The more people have to think about it, the more problems you're going to have getting an answer out of them. Because then the peer pressure comes into play. You don't care about Epstein? Oh my God. You support pedophiles. The average person isn't tuned to being able to tune that shit out. Peer pressure is real.
That's kind of what we're saying.
Yes.
And those people vote. That's 20% of the voter base. That's going to be a problem. And
but here's the thing: is again, that 20% of the voter base, you have to drill them with it in order to get them to just finally pull the lever for that issue. You have to drill them with it. Here's the problem. Media really isn't, the media can't do anything. The media is so distrusted. So it requires people on the ground drilling this into people's heads. Problem. It's really quick and easy to piss somebody off who then goes like, you know what? Fuck you. I don't give a shit. Get out of my face before I fucking hit. The problem is that, and this is the issue I have with this argument, is that it is literally people are too stupid. No, people are not stupid. The idea that people are too fucking stupid is the same fucking mentality that is causing black voters to rally to our side as heavily as they are when it comes to the SAVE Act. Because I don't know if you guys have noticed that. Blacks are literally, there's a fucking great video, fantastic fucking video of a dude, black kid, maybe like 22 to 25, fucking hopping on his fucking hinds like he's a fucking gorilla with a fucking MacBook. And he's sitting there and he's like, what's this? And he's sitting there and he's fucking, picking it up, looking at it, so on and so forth. Eventually there's a part where he opens it up and he's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And he starts like beating on it and shit like that. That's how the Democrats view the blacks. That's their argument.
I am aware.
Well, how many times have we started seeing these anti-ICE protesters? If they see a black man in an ICE uniform, they start calling them hard R's.
Yes. Well, it's not necessarily so much that voters are too stupid, though arguably some voters are dumb, but it's that they're too busy and they have shit going on. And they don't.
Yeah, and you know what's most likely going to happen with those types?
Right.
They're just not going to go out and vote anyways. Because if they're too fucking busy, why are they going to take time out of their day to go fucking vote?
Because it's really easy to get. It's easy for the liberal Democrat or the. I guess you can use the liberal Democrat media to get them pissed off, and the fastest way to get somebody out to vote to get them pissed off
is them.
Also, so when what you say is true is that a lot of them won't vote, but herein lies the problem. So pre-2016, pre-Trump, there was a general trend of where low propensity voters voted for Democrats and high propensity voters who vote all the time and are the politically aware vote Republican. This flipped after 2016, meaning that like the party that can't afford to alienate those low propensity voters who don't usually care flipped from being the Democrats to the Republicans, right? You can win in a landslide in like 2024 when those people vote because their lives are becoming shit, but when their lives aren't actively becoming shit, like say under Biden, it's hard to get them to vote, and it's easy to, scare them off. And because of that, I think it's reckless to do, to take these optical L's, because that's the sort of thing that runs the normie, non-committed, too busy to really follow everything, like, that runs them off.
You also have to take into consideration with the way voting is happening now, hopefully the SAVE Act will pass.
Yes.
I mean, hopefully, but God forbid if it doesn't, or if it does, but it's not going to take effect until after the midterms, it is stupid easy to vote. All you have to do is get a piece of paper in the mail and sign it 2 months in advance.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem with that.
I'm listening.
You're talking about states that are already hard Democrat strongholds.
Not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore. There are a lot of states right now that were able to push that through in really hinky ways.
Okay, and here's the thing, is that those few states...
It's not a few states, though. But it's not a few states. That's what we're trying to say. Or at least what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I mean,
My point is that...
I'm not totally disagreeing with you. I'm just saying I don't think you're taking some of the problems into as much consideration as should be.
Well, I guess we'll see.
Yes.
Again,
as
what
always,
I'm seeing
we shall see.
As I said, I am not seeing the issues that it's the Bannon crowd, it's the Massey circle, it's all of these people who are screaming the loudest, and it's like, y'all are a bunch of traitors, and people are waking up to it. Massey outed himself so fucking hard it was unfucking real.
I absolutely. He absolutely did.
And people are seeing it. The only people who are sitting here that are hardcore, I'm with Massey, are the same people who didn't vote for us anyways. Like, this is my key thing, is that across the board there is this idea that the country is 52-48. No. The country's more likely around 60-40 at worst.
Yes.
And you look at the effect. People aren't going to be seeing the effect in their lives on an individual level until 2028, 2029. Because that's how long it takes for this stuff to push its way down to the bottom. But the thing is that, I'll take myself into consideration here. After I redid my withholding and got all my taxes squared away, I'm only losing like $250 a month in taxes, or a paycheck in taxes now.
That's good.
That is a good thing.
Everybody who's working overtime right now, they're seeing that immediate effect.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody who is like, hey, beef prices come down so fucking starkly ever since the Argentina deal was signed. It was unfucking real. The speculator, that's a fun part about that. It's like, oh, it was the speculators. It was the fucking derivatives market that was driving the prices absolutely bananas. I can actually start buying steak again for my girl. She's gonna love that. Butter fried steak? Oh, hell yes, sir. But that's the point. Is I gave the credence 2024. I gave credence to people. I said, I'm not seeing what all these other people are fucking saying. And I refuse to view my people, my fellow fucking Americans, as fucking retards who are easily pushed into this idea that, oh my God, you know, this guy's radioactive now. No. The only time that shit happens is when you have people like Tony fucking Gonzalez, who more than likely murdered his aide because he didn't want his fucking, his little fucking hinky shit with her coming to light. And it came to light anyways. And now he's looking at potentially going to jail for a fucking murder charge. Yeah, that's the kind of shit that people actually look at. You know, the whole Epstein thing. I've sat and explained the fact that, hey, there's an MPA in place that a Bush judge put in play that makes it literally impossible for the DOJ to prosecute anybody associated with Epstein in any way, shape, or form. And by the way, all the people who are directly affiliated with Epstein's operations, who would have had intimate knowledge of Epstein's dealings, they're all Europeans.
Yeah, but you've had to sit down and have a full conversation to explain it.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is I'm not the only one doing that. There's plenty of other people having that conversation. There's plenty of people pointing out the holes in the narrative. And people are picking up on it.
I'm agreeing with you. People are picking up on it when somebody's able to sit down and have a conversation with them about it and have a decent chance of explaining it. But for each person that happens for, there's 3 more that doesn't happen with.
And I'm at, you know, you say that, but again, I go, let's go to the podcasting world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what we're doing right here, right now.
Absolutely.
Again, there's plenty of people. You know, you look at the situation with Robert Barnes. Robert Barnes is a fucking shill for Bannon and that crowd. He's a fucking limey fucking taint licker. And it's like, okay, dude, you get to be on the wall too. People are picking it up. There's hell, I can't tell you how many people I've seen that have had to reconcile that shit. They're like, oh my God, is Barnes running cover for the enemy? I've seen those comments all over the place. I barely pay attention to Barnes, but I've still seen the comments. Viva Fry got fucking roasted when he, you know, is like, oh, Tom Luongo, you should retract this statement, blah, 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 blah. Viva's getting roasted in the comments. He's, you know, Viva's as naive as they fucking come, apparently. Which it's like, okay, don't fucking listen to that guy. Because he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, apparently. So on and so on and so on. The story is as old as fucking night at this point in time. So.
Oh no, I'm hearing you. I'm just saying, it's part of it is a case of, do we have enough time to have enough of those conversations?
Oh, I do believe we do. We're not even into March yet.
Yes.
The primary season hasn't even started.
Yes.
And across the board, the primaries are looking good for us. Hell, I've been looking at the situation here in Ohio, and I've been trying to connect dots when it comes to Casey Butch. I've started giving credence to the guy on a slight level. It's like, I think maybe you are just genuine. Maybe you are just a fucking pissed off, dumb son of a bitch. But, he's a dumb son of a bitch with money. So he's able to pull a campaign off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is he going to win? I doubt. Me and Poe are both voting for Ramaswamy in the fucking primary. We're like, nope. Sorry. Some shithead that's cool with property taxes. Like, sorry, we don't like capital gains taxes in this house.
Nope.
Oh, but the school system. You mean the school system that's falling apart and failing anyways? Ramaswamy hasn't made a comment in regards to fucking in regards to the fucking property tax shit at all. He's just like, whatever the people decide.
Yeah.
He's just let it go by the wayside. He's like, whatever. Acton is freaking the fuck out about it. That should tell you something. It's like, wait a minute, why does one of the Republican challengers and one of the Democrat challenger, why do they align on this? See, that's shit that people are going to start picking up on very quickly, and they've been picking up on it. Hell, fucking Tommy Kerrigan had Casey Butch on his podcast. A lot of people are like, yeah, he sounds good, but he's an unproven fucking variable. We might not like Ramaswamy, but we at least know who he works for.
Yeah.
No,
That's my whole thing.
I am agreeing with you 85% of the way. I just worry about some of the people that.
That's fine.
It's
I will
the voter that gets pissed off about something, and they've got a piece of paper in front of them where they can spend 10 minutes at their table, fill it out, and stick it in a mailbox.
Yeah, and that's fine.
So I think if I could summarize what at least I'd say I've been trying to convey in a single sentence is basically this: don't play hope chess. And for those of you who don't know what that means, it is a saying in the chess community. What is hope chess? Hope chess is when you're playing a game of chess and you make a move, and the thought process behind your move that you make is, I hope my opponent does this. And if you play hope chess, you'll beat some people who are bad at chess. Sometimes you won't. But if you play hope chess, you'll never beat the people who are good at chess, because in order to be good at chess, you don't just play a move thinking, oh, I hope my opponent does this or doesn't do this. You only play a move after you've considered what is the best thing they can do in response to this. Right? You have to consider what is their best move after I have done this, and only once you've evaluated that do you determine whether or not you should make that move. And I guess what I'm trying to say is don't make a move until you've evaluated what their best response is to that move and how it might be used against you. No, don't just make a move assuming that they're going to do the thing that's most advantageous for having made that move. Because otherwise, you might not win.
So I'm gonna give an analogy. Because you use chess.
Yes.
Here's the problem: is politics is not a game of chess; it's a game of Kriegspiel. It's all about maneuver. It's all about communication. It's all about logistics. When you are playing Kriegspiel, there are going to be moments when putting a unit out on the flank in an exposed position is absolutely the right move to make. Period in a story.
Yeah.
Because the problem is that it could be a tree line that needs to be held. If that tree line falls, the entire army is going to collapse. And if you hold that tree line, then your maneuver is going to be absolutely fucking fantastic. And so you put a fucking unit on that tree line, and you prevent the enemy cavalry from coming across and being able to fucking outflank your army and get in behind you and start ruining your logistics and ruining your communication.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the point, is that politics is not a game of chess. It's a game of Kriegspiel. And at the end of the day, sometimes you gotta put that unit out there. Sometimes you gotta put a unit out there that is literally just meant to draw fire.
Yeah. So
Literally.
Again, in chess, we call that a gambit or a sacrifice. It's still the same. The point I'm just trying to make is, if you do that, make sure only do that once you've determined what the best counter they have to that is. Instead of just if you put someone out to sacrifice them, make sure that I hope they take the bait is not the only thing you've thought through before doing that, right? Instead make sure okay, what happens if they don't take the bait? Do I still win, or have I now taken an L? Right?
Okay, but here's the problem. Is what is the issue with using chess as the example here? Chess is a grid-based system.
Yes.
It is move, counter move.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no ebb and flow. There's just move, counter move. But the problem is the situation always changes. Like, for example, I'm going to use an anecdote here because I've played the shit out of Kriegspiel before. We had a Kriegspiel going in which we had 3 armies on the field.
Mm-hmm. I
was playing the Prussians, and it was a Napoleonic era Kriegspiel. I was playing against the Prussians. I had 15,000 men. The Brits were on my left. They had 12,000. The French had 22,000 on the opposite side of the field. But there was a Russian army that was due to arrive. And the point is that the area of the battle was to expand in, I believe it was 5 turns. Yes, 5 turns. The whole point is that the French player, being the one in a superior position who had the ability to mass forces and attack specific parts of the line with more men, he needed to push forward, attack, defeat one of the armies on the field, and then roll up the second army before then turning and being able to face the Russians.
Good old defeat in detail.
Yes. But that's the point. That right there. The battle it had a set parameter in that the order of events, the battle starts with these 3 armies, but then this 4th army is coming on the field. But the map was changing. And the strategies that the players could actually use were fluid. It wasn't set. The only thing that was set was the range of our fucking guns.
Right.
And that's my point, is that at the end of the day, you have this situation now, and then in 2 months, I've got an opinion. this is my personal opinion. Now, Tom has a similar opinion. He thinks that there's going to be another file drop close to the midterm elections that's supposed to, that file drop's going to come in, and it's just going to absolutely obliterate people in the elections. There are going to be people that are so radioactive that they literally cannot stand for election and they have to resign.
That's what I'm thinking is going to happen as well.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. If I were in the position Trump is in, why not do that for the primaries too?
Depends on what's in there, who's in there, and how much they have.
Absolutely. But here's the thing is that now supposedly we're up to 9 million documents. Supposedly there's 9 million total documents involved in this. So I'm like, holy shit. He does another, 2.5 million. And then he drops another load right before the main election itself. He offered them peace and they decided, no, we're going to war. And he said, okay, that's a bad choice, but okay.
We shall find.
Well, here's the thing about the elite. They do not want to lose power, and they would rather burn everything down and rule a pile of ash than to lose power.
Oh, you're absolutely correct. Absolutely fucking correct. But that's the point, though, is if all of a sudden you have a situation where it's like, hey, fuck your power, you have no power here. What do they burn down at that point in time? Again, I kind of have to go with EM on this one. I don't think we'll see the election this year. Because I think what's going to end up happening is that a bunch of blueies are going to decide, oh, it's time, because a shit ton of their people are going to, if a shit ton of their people get knocked out of these races because they just become so radioactive that all of a sudden the donors just pull their support. And they're just like, nope, nope, I want nothing to do with you. Well, at that point in time, you got, oh, we're going to start a secessionist movement. Okay, that's cute. Guess what? You're not participating in this election then. We're still going to have the election, but we're not going to allow you to participate if you're going to act like that. What do they do then?
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Well, what do they do then? They throw a fit.
No, it's the best they can do. Again, I'm not saying you guys are entirely wrong. I'm just saying I view it differently. That's all it is. All right, hold on. Stoner fucking posted this up.
No, it's just something we can discuss later. Or if you think it would help the show, we can discuss it now.
You know what? Let's go ahead and end here.
All right, sounds good.
And then
we are
and
almost.
then we will. Yeah.
Yeah, we are almost about 3.5 hours in, so yeah, we don't want to.
Oh,
we
God.
don't want to drag on too long for the people who may be listening.
Have we done that again?
Yes.
Do we need to set up a timer where we only cover a subject for X period of time, and then we move on?
Where's the fun in that?
Well, time
Time
flies when you're having fun.
We had a 45-minute to an hour debate that, frankly speaking, like, somebody happens upon that and they're just like, holy shit. Like, how are these guys friends? Well, welcome to actually being a true intellectual.
Yes. You'd never see anything like that on the other side.
No.
Oh no, they'd be too busy purity spiraling.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The only diversity they want is a diverse group of people saying what they want to hear.
Yes. Or I think that the saying is that the only diversity they don't want is diversity of thought.
Yeah.
Anyways, with that, I think it is time to end for tonight. See you all next week, folks. This has been the WarWolf Podcast.
Good evening, all.
Auf Wiedersehen.